Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode. I am Michael Petrow. Hello, after a week off. We all got back from Folk Fest. Congratulations, Folk Fest. Winnipeg Folk Fest, for those of you who are not from the 204, the Manitoba province of wherever, Canada. We all took a week off and went out to our favorite place, the Winnipeg Folk Fest, and you guys did such a good job. Congratulations. Thanks for letting us volunteer this year. We had a blast. And I heard there's a rumor that there was only 33 tickets left at the gate on Saturday. And if that's true, whoa, wow, way to go, guys. It's like 3 years that we didn't have it, didn't even happen. That's how much of a bit you guys didn't beat. You guys didn't miss. So congratulations, Folkfest. Way to go this year. Who's on the show this week? You got me, Rob Strachan, and Mark Cowell. And we're reviewing for you, if you will, The Boys, Miss Marvel, Stranger Things, Spiderhead on Netflix, and Alone on the History Channel. That's our weekly watch list, if you will. And if you don't like that, you want to get into the good stuff, the bulk, the juicy, the meaty parts of the show. We have director's cuts. Are they overrated or underrated? Do they change the original feeling and idea behind the film, or do they add to it? What are the best director's cuts? So on and so forth. That's topic number one. Topic number two, most shocking moment on television. Was it a live event? Was it a scripted series and you were like, oh my God, the Red Wedding? Was it a moment like that? Or was it Who Shot JR, right? Is that one of your moments? Kind of stuff like that. So that's who's on the show. That's what's on the show. We have a schedule for you this summer, ladies and gentlemen. July 22nd, Jimmy Skinner and me will be at the Gimli Film Fest Friday night, July 22nd, 7 p.m. on the beach, if you will. We will be interviewing the fine cast of Ice Vikings, the Manitoba film series about a family of fishermen who use the Viking method of ice fishing in minus 40 fucking weather. We're going to get to talk to them about how they make the show with the fine people from Farpoint Films who produced the show. So we're going to be having a conversation with them. Again, that's July 22nd. Excuse me. On the beach, Gimli, Manitoba, 7 p.m. is free. Just come and listen. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be really interesting. You'll find out how they use these Viking technology, if you will, to find some of the best fish that we get to enjoy here in Manitoba. Also, August 5th and August 19th, we will be at Movies in the Park at Assiniboine Park here in our fair city of Winnipeg. We'll be off to the side, just doing commentary, talking about the movies that are going to be on. If you guys want to come over and have a conversation with us, we've said this before, if you see us out in the open, you are more than welcome to come over and be like, hey, I have a thought or two about XYZ film. Specifically the films that you could come talk about with us. We will have The Eternals and Sing 2 on Friday, August 5th. And then on August 19th, we're going to have Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Moana. So come over if you see us. But both of those nights we're going to be doing double features, summer double features. Subscribe to our Instagrams, our Facebooks, our Twitters, anything on the internets that we are attached to. Subscribe to one of those things. You'll probably want to do Instagram or Facebook if you really want to stay in the know. If you don't give a shit, that's fine too. No big deal. Yeah, that's about it. I got nothing else for you. So without further ado, I give you me. I give you Rob. I give you Mark. I give you the director's cuts. I give you the most shocking moments on television. I'll shut the fuck up. I'll cue that reel, and you enjoy the show.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome, everyone, to the official space section of the Charter.
What's the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Sir, you're out of order. Out of order. I show you out of order.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Real Debaters Podcast. I am Michael Petrow.
I'm drinking, but I'm Mark Cowell.
I'm Rob Strachan.
And we're here. We're back. It's been a minute. I think the last time we were all in the same room was live at the Handsome Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I believe it was.
There was still fucking snow.
Yeah, there was.
And now it's like fucking super, super hot and sunny and awesome.
It's exactly what we've been waiting for. I think I read a report a couple weeks ago that July was when the real nice weather was supposed to start. And lo and behold.
You know what? I love living here because it literally goes from minus 35 to plus 35 in, this year, like literally in 2 months, but normally it's like within like a season.
There's that window of time where it can be snow, rain, melt, have a lovely afternoon, and be a cold fucking night all in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I
Sounds
think,
like Calgary every day.
Yeah. But I think we've passed we're around the bend, right? We're now traditionally into summer.
Oh, dude, we're into 2 months of awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. This week is a real talk, where the three of us are just going to sit around and talk about some of our favorite things. Hopefully, there's some of
Shoot
your
the
favorite.
proverbial shit.
Exactly, lots of shit shooting. And before we get into our shit shooting, if you know how the show works, we like to
Please
review.
no explosive diarrhea.
No, took care of that pre-show.
Excellent.
Pre-show dumps are the best.
Well, it's not a pre-show dump. It's called a pre-show deuce.
You got to get it all out because like
There's a couple things in this world where you always take a preemptive deuce.
Like what? What's yours?
Exams.
Okay, definitely don't want to have
podcasts.
Yeah.
And flying on a plane.
I'm okay with deucing on a plane.
I have no problem deucing on a plane too, but why would you set yourself up to have to if you don't want?
I would
don't
prefer
need
not to.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
given one given the choice. Okay,
Yeah.
Mark, what about you? What's your pre-deuce?
I'm with Rob on that one. Like, before important meetings, performances, which would include podcasts.
Oh,
that
what
kind of
you're
stuff.
performing? I'm not getting the real you.
What if you were attending
Acting.
a herogasm?
A herogasm, yes. Before herogasm,
But I mean, you would
100%.
do a full anal irrigation.
100%.
absolutely.
You'd go enema for that one.
Yeah, that's just being polite.
Coffee enema.
Do those exist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do they work?
Probably.
I've never tried it.
As
but-
Rob, as someone who's
Asking for a friend?
yeah, asking for somebody who's interested. Just so
My assumption would be yes.
cost. Do we know? Is it more?
Have you ever seen on that line? Just because you're asking for a friend,
Sure.
have you ever read like if you've ever been on like bulletin boards or any message boards
Where they have the little pieces of paper you can rip with the phone numbers?
yeah, the old message boards, looking for a babysitter or a dog walker. No, where you're talking about maybe some questionable material, and have you ever heard people like they'll write swim at the start of the questions?
Is that so you can buy snuff films?
So whenever you write swim and then you ask like a question or you give a comment, it's always someone who isn't me.
Oh, that acronym.
Yeah. So I never knew that for a line because it'll say swim. Yeah, if you take 3 of them, then your time's really fun. But it'd be like someone who isn't me has experience with.
I get it. So you would know on the message room that you could answer.
So you're
without
not,
incriminating.
Yes,
oneself.
implicating yourself in anything questionable or illegal.
I always think before we go into the fake world, I always think that Kopi Luwak, that really expensive coffee.
Oh, you mean the
the
monkey
one,
shit
the one
coffee?
where or it's like, isn't it like a bird eats the beans and
They're
shits
like
them
little
out?
monkeys, aren't they?
Is it monkeys?
It's a marsupial-like creature that eats the beans, and because of the enzyme in their intestinal tract, it flavors the coffee. So essentially, they shit out the beans. Then you take those beans and you dry them.
They talk about that in the bucket list, right?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
with
where I
Morgan
heard about
Freeman
it.
and Jack Nicholson.
Exactly. He's one of the
because he's obsessed with that coffee,
Yes.
and then Morgan Freeman finds out what it is and then makes fun of him for it.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, if that's made that way, do we think that would be awesome for an enema? Like it's the highest grade quality coffee.
No. I don't think so.
No.
No.
That's pushing it.
I think part of the reason they do the coffee enemas is it's supposed to actually also give you a kick because you're basically putting caffeine into your anus, and the lining of the anus is very thin, so it's similar to like plunging drugs.
Fuck WebMD. Tune into The Real Debate.
And clearly, you're going to be so empty that you probably don't have a bunch of energy. So a little caffeine boost is exactly what you need.
Exactly.
Boosting your booster.
Yeah.
The
Before you fire up a tampon full of vodka for a good night.
I was gonna say blow some cocaine and pull a Jordan Belfort, but hey, whatever
Either
your
or.
pleasure is.
It's probably it'll probably increases the blood flow to the anus as well.
I would
to probably make that type of pleasure more pleasurable.
Well, like I said, every week before we start the show, we love to talk about what we watched. So let's talk about that for a second.
This pretty much is what I watched because I watched Hero Gas.
Let's start with you. Let's segue into that for a second.
This conveniently is what we watched.
Can I just say something? How fucking amazing is The Boys? Like, it is. Like, it's so good. I'm actually not interested in watching. I still haven't finished the last episode of Stranger Things, and I haven't even touched Umbrella Academy yet because I'm just so into The Boys. I can't even watch anything else.
Well, Mark, you said you're all done up to 7. Me and Rob are still on Herogasm. So let's stop there, because if we do blow this right now, we're
there's some,
so to speak.
There's some. Speaking of TV moments that change the world.
Yeah, on topic this week. Let's start off
episode
fresh here.
1.
Yeah. So first of all, our what you watch is gonna be a lot of boys. It's gonna be a lot of Star Wars, I imagine too.
Mm-hmm.
But on deck for you this week, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be talking about director's cuts, the need for them or no need for them. What are the best ones? Did the version of the director's cut become better because of a missing scene or two? We're also going to be talking about most shocking moments in television history. Are they shocking to you? Are they shocking in general? Did they change the landscape of television, for fuck's sakes? What did they do? And that was so shocking. And to segue back into the boys, I mean, Herogasm, easily one of the most shocking episodes I've ever seen on streaming. Like, I saw a dildo made out of ice get floated into the air and shot into the backside of a unsuspecting person in an orgy.
Oh, they were suspecting.
Well,
they weren't positive, but they were definitely suspecting.
Yeah, fair enough.
I also love how they said it's C-list soups.
Yes.
I love how they have like the A-list, the B-list, the C-list, and the D-list.
Like the
ones.
dude who answered the door is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Well, those were the twins from the original group.
Yeah.
Right.
From Soldier Boy's
from
group.
Soldier.
Yeah.
TNT.
TNT.
TNT. That's right. Yeah.
But so we're all caught back, Rob. Like, yes, to answer your question, it's fucking absolutely amazing. I think it's a commentary on everything that's wrong with the world at the same time.
Well, it's like that meme that I sent our chat group.
And
it has a picture of Superman, and this is like America in movies, and then it shows Homelander like laughing maniacally, and this is America in real life.
Henry Cavill Superman.
That couldn't have been more true.
Like, it was like spot on. I love reading people's comments on that too, and one guy goes, "Exactly, both kick ass."
Kripke in an interview said that Homelander is Trump. Like, that's what they're going for this season. Is a Trump-like character.
Absolutely, and I would agree. It's egomaniacal, narcissist,
sociopathic, no accountability.
Has very low self-esteem, always wants to people please, wants everyone to love him, that kind of thing.
Is it Herogasm where he's at the rally at the beginning?
No, it's the episode before where he's doing a rally, I think.
Well, he's on TV and he fights being canceled, and he's like, "I'm better than you."
Oh, that was episode 3, I think.
Was that 3 or 4?
Sorry. No, I'm gonna spoil something.
Okay.
I'm gonna shut up now.
You shut your pie hole.
But
you spoiler
on the point that you make with the Trump-esque quality that when you're attacked, that you attack back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you sometimes attack back with absolute absurdity, but your minions and followers believe anything you say.
Absolutely.
And that definitely comes to fruition.
That's classic.
Belief.
That's classic strongman, right?
Yeah.
Strongman, narcissist leader, and that happens throughout history. I think Trump's just like the latest rendition that just comes to mind all the time. But I mean, there's snapshots of these types of egomaniacal humans throughout history, going all the way back to the Roman era in Egypt.
I just love that the ones we get to see are shooting up fake V now. I love that aspect of the story. I love that Butcher broke his promise.
Temp V.
I love that, and I love how it affects Butcher, and Huey, right? Like, Huey does it because he wants to rescue his girlfriend, right? He wants to be big and strong, and Butcher does it because he's like, I'm done fucking around. And Mother's Milk won't do it because, well, he won't trade his moral compass for, being strong for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But it's a great aspect of the story because now it makes me go, what would I do if I had Temp V for a day?
I also like, too, that, even though Huey's power is to teleport, he's still fucking strong.
Yes.
Fuck.
Like strong is like a default.
Yeah.
You're stronger, much stronger and faster and better than the average human. And then you also have some other extra special.
Like you can run out of your clothes as fast as you can.
Well, I love the teleport, but can't teleport your clothes. That is a great little subplot thing. And they even play it more like in the 7th episode. They keep playing on that one a couple funny times.
Nice.
And, yeah.
I also like when I'm brain farting. What's his name? Fast guy.
A-Train.
A-Train. Thank you. When he grabs that guy and goes fuck it and just starts running as fast as he can, even though he
drags
knows
a
blue
and
hawk.
just drags his
Blue
fucking
hawk.
head. Like, I was just like, holy shit. But then you got to think too. Like, I mean, the very first episode of season 1, when he blasts through Huey's girlfriend, and you're just like, that's what sold me on the show.
Me too.
I was just like, what the fuck? This is Invincible, but in real life.
That was a bit of a
100%.
moment of a something that happened on TV that kind of changed the game. As far as it made me think, you know what? In a world full of real superheroes,
What's the collateral?
shit like this would happen
all the fucking time.
right? Because it happens with regular things in army and fucking fire and police and all these other things. Shit happens sometimes.
Collateral damage is a real life factor.
Totally. Like when an airplane flies, maybe he's taking off at a runway, and if your house happens to be right there, there's a chance the plane could crash into your house.
Yep.
Like,
Just an
It
Indian.
happened in the Aviator, and then he crashed into a beet field. Remember that? Took off the roof of a couple.
oh yeah, that's right.
Couple houses, and then yeah.
So yeah, that right. The Boys has many episodes like that
Yeah.
that kind of push the limits, but make
But it was
you think
But
too.
it was pushing the limits for a comic at the time too.
Yes.
Sorry.
100%. No.
It's okay. So here's the running theme. Do you think Seth Rogen is the reason why it is so invincible real life? Because he's on both shows.
No,
Yeah.
I just think Seth Rogen is a comic book nerd. He's a fanboy, and he's at a point in his life where he has a production company, he has money, he has Hollywood cred, and he's doing projects that he's passionate about and wants to see come into fruition because he's a fan. That's why he does it.
And fans
Yeah.
take everything
Yeah.
from the original
It's
content.
like DiCaprio. DiCaprio is still working on the Akira movie.
Really?
Right? Yeah, he's an executive producer, I'm pretty sure, because he's a fucking massive fan and he wants to see it get over the goal line. He wants to see it come to fruition.
And I
appreciate people in Hollywood that aren't I'm a fucking executive, No, I'm a fucking fan and
Yeah.
I want to see this done right. Like if anybody else had done Lord of the Rings other than Peter Jackson, it would have sucked.
and then we would have all gone for their head.
And there's
it would
no
have been
way
toxic, yeah.
there's no way anybody else could have done that on that budget at that time, like so earlier in like CGI isn't like in 20 years is come miles since
It's
then.
still, you can put Lord of the Rings next to any current VFX program.
I mean, there's
and
some stuff in it for sure that
There's
isn't,
stuff in today's shit too.
you know,
but
absolutely.
it's still 30 years ahead of its time. Like when there will be a day where Lord of the Rings gets lapped, it still hasn't happened yet, which is
Well,
what's
think
so
about how good
impressive.
Frighteners is.
Like the Frighteners is in the Stephen.
No.
Like Frighteners with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
Yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Jackson's first movie.
Real? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why the studio didn't want to take a chance on him because they were like, MGM was like, we're gonna fucking trust this guy who's only done the Frighteners with Michael J. Fox to do like $150 million fucking trilogy. It ended up being like $250 million when it was all said and done. And they took a chance on him, and it's fucking amazing.
I want to take it back to the boys for a second.
Sorry.
Here. No, that's fine.
We kind of went down the.
I think we were talking. Seth Rogen has
Yeah.
found
that's where- yeah.
some comics and some graphic novels and some subject matter that he loves, and he's brought them to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, the pushing the lines of blood and gore in sort of a humor
Yeah.
scope, which Invincible does to some extent
Totally.
too, from a separate way. The writer of The Boys, Garth Ennis, the comic, is known for being very really pushes
Yes. Give
things
us the
in
comic side of it, Mark.
because he also wrote The Preacher, which has some really crazy characters.
The Preacher's
in it too.
fucking nuts.
Yeah.
The show does not do it justice.
Preacher, yeah. So I mean, it's just his personality. I think there's a character in Preacher called
Arseface.
ass face or whatever, right? And his face is literally he tried to kill himself and fucked up, so his mouth looks like a.
He was he was a Kurt Cobain fan, and he and his buddy say, we're going to kill ourselves like Kurt Cobain and shoot ourselves in the face with a shotgun. And he and his buddy both do it, and his buddy dies, and he just blows his face off and lives, and then becomes Assface.
Oh, I thought it was actually him and his. I haven't read it. My buddy who's a big fan says it was him and his girlfriend, and they both wanted to kill themselves.
I thought it was him and his buddy.
And then
maybe it was him and his girlfriend.
he shot himself, or
Oh,
she
and
shot him.
Yeah, I can't remember
And
what
then,
it is, yeah.
or no, he shot himself, and then she's like, "No, I don't want to do it anymore."
Listener, if you
well, it's kind of like what's that show? What's that movie where he shrinks down with Matt Damon?
downsizing.
Yeah, and he shrinks himself, and in his life is like, "Fuck it, I'm not doing it." And he's he wakes up and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Where am I? I have this giant house, all this credit. I've downsized my life.
Thank God Matt Damon didn't run into anybody's urethra.
Yeah. Let's sit on that for a second. They keep outdoing themselves. Like The Whale was the big thing in season 2, right?
Yeah.
Deep's full blown running, and then Butcher and Huey, and he's sitting in the blowhole. But this This one's got a lot more splat meter stuff. Like the penis thing is probably.
You mean doing a bunch of cocaine and going into your gay lover's penis?
I love the line, "I want you inside me."
Yeah.
And then it literally.
I can't hear that again without thinking of. And then like as he's doing
a
it,
small miniature man inside your urethra.
right? Like that's just. But like the way he's walking, it's like he's going into some cave from Indiana Jones. Like he's just, and then he's like, "Are you ready for me?" And I'm like, "Oh!" Like I was up the back of my fucking chair. So I was like, "Where can this go?" And then,
It was horrible, and he was like.
He was
Actually,
mortified.
He was mortified.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I tried to do it.
It was
but
his
that-
partner.
Yeah, exactly.
It was his partner.
That
He
was
killed
crazy
his
about
partner.
it. Yeah, that was the crazy
He
part.
basically just fucking exploded him from the inside out.
Yeah, but then stood up inside of the bottom half of him while
And-
the top half of him threw off. Like it was. Oh
and it's
my
laying on his top half of his body's laying on his bed, all disemboweled. Like it's
It's so. And that was episode 1, third scene.
Yeah, like 11 minutes in or something.
Right. So like they set the tone each season. They do not fuck around. What are
the
we?
boys' episodes are longer this season too. Did you
Hour
notice?
5,
Yeah.
hour
Instead
7,
of like 45.
Have
or
you guys
an hour.
watched Diabolical, the like 15-minute cartoon?
No.
Martin
Boys
has. I
cartoon.
haven't yet. Is it good?
Yeah,
It
was
keeps
just a
wanting to
short little one.
start it every time.
Yeah,
I end
it's
an episode.
humorous. Yeah,
Where's it on? Prime?
yeah, it's like it'll prompt you to watch it at the end of the boys episode. Like if you're
I'll check it out.
Let's finish with you. You've seen 7. Don't ruin it for us or anybody.
It's good. It's Herogasm gives you the shock value,
Okay.
and then
What's 7's title?
7. It's something bizarre because there's a whole bunch of things going on. It's
Okay.
not single kind of plot. There's a couple different things happen. You get a little taste of Butcher's background that made Butcher. It's an interesting way that you get there, but it's kind of interesting.
Like pre-CIA or when he's in the CIA?
Like from when he was a kid, like his
we're
whole.
going back.
Because you remember, there's early where he has that season, the fight with his father out on the patio
Yes.
about his brother Lenny.
Yeah.
Here comes a candle to light you to bed.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
the
kind of
title.
That's what it's called.
so you get a little bit of the history of what made Butcher with his father and his brother and that shit. But it puts some of the things that happened in Herogasm and leading up to this in some context. So it starts kind of there's a
I mean,
big
there's context for an octopus giving deep blowjobs.
well you saw the
good.
twist.
I don't need context, but I mean, I'm glad if there is.
You saw the shift.
He's my buddy.
The way that Starlight comes and like quits.
Yes.
So that's a big shift on her.
Oh,
like,
uses her social media,
like
following,
leaving the
yeah.
7. Yeah. So that's a big shift, and then you get into some characters. You start seeing some background, and it's a very good episode to kind of like tie some things together and then move forward from. So
So
it's
does it-
really good.
Do we know if we're getting 8 or 10?
I don't know.
There's 8 episodes.
Okay, so we're approaching season finale.
Yeah, next week.
Nice. Okay.
And
It's
season
good, though.
4 has been renewed for
Yeah.
8
Oh,
seasons.
this is an Amazon Prime flagship series.
This is their number 1 show.
Yeah. This is what happened to AMC with Walking Dead. This is what happened with HBO and Sopranos. Like, and I love
This is as popular as they thought Wheel of Time was supposed to be.
Yeah, nobody could have seen what. Like,
I knew Wheel of Time wasn't going to be good.
I loved it.
I
but
thought it was great,
you're-
but it's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, we've had this conversation.
It's
where,
Game of it's a bigger book series than Game of Thrones,
and should have had.
and should have been treated such.
Well, and they have the money, but it was.
Well, the problem is they're spending too much focus on the Lord of the Rings series stuff, which I actually think is going to fall flat because it's over budgeted.
This is the conversation we've. Had
But we've had
before.
this discussion before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been watching, boys. But unlike Rob. Unlike Rob, I was bouncing back and forth between Umbrella Academy
Okay,
and The Boys.
I have to wait to watch Umbrella with Micheal. That's why. That's part
Yeah,
of it.
so that's
We're-
been my
we're
2
trying
things
to
that I've been
restart
kind
it.
of watching there. Is I've been watching Umbrella Academy,
I
The
love
Boys,
Umbrella Academy.
and Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
How is that?
It's good. It started off a little bit,
Teeny bopper?
little bit teeny boppery,
Yep.
a little bit slow, but then it does a shift. I think in episode 4.
He was telling me this the other night because I did one and then went.
'cause I was
"Nah."
I keep looking at it when I'm on Disney Plus. I'm kind of like, eh.
It changes a bit in episode 4 and becomes more of a superhero in the real world.
I just keep watching Frozen.
You get introduced to like the real bad guys, and you start understanding what makes her what she is. And there's some background to it, and there's like the mystical side of Marvel that they start playing with, and it moves. Part of the show moves to Pakistan, where she's from and her history. So it gets better. I would.
Is it getting
I
a
would
lot
stick
of
it out.
anti-Muslim rhetoric from fans?
No, surprisingly, there was more backlash with what's her face in Obi-Wan, who I thought was great, the Inquisitor.
I don't understand
Third
what
sister.
everyone's fucking deal was. She was fucking awesome.
Statistically, Star Wars has done the data scrap, and they told her months in advance. They were like, okay, we've gone online and we've sampled, and we just want to let you know we stand by you. We will not let any of this bear fruit, but there's a lot of young white boy hate in Star Wars fandom, and apparently they told her in advance, so she was well aware. But still, that doesn't make it right, and I don't get it, because it's like, what the fuck's your problem? But they actually, I was listening to,
Well, it's kind of like with what's his face's character in the newer trilogy too. There was so much hate with him as well.
what trilogy? Which one?
Episode 7, 8, 9.
Oh yeah, with what's his name? Fuck. Finn. There was
Yeah.
well,
Part of that was too is also because of China, right? So they
Yeah.
downplayed his role in episode 8.
the shittiness of the business.
Well, no, China. He's literally not on the poster for the Chinese version of episode 7.
That's Disney bowing down. Which
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Stop doing that, Disney.
No kidding. But no, I haven't seen enough of it, but I've heard from other reviews of it that they're very on the nose when it comes to Muslim heritage and culture and living at home and stuff. And even one guy on a podcast I heard was like, there's a piece of artwork that my grandmother had in our house growing up. And
It's like a classic.
yeah,
kinda,
like they went to Muslims and they said, how do you want to be portrayed in this? You
Well,
can
the scenes
tell.
I like is because it's targeted a little bit more to the younger generation. I think it's very inclusionary in the fact that it's like saying, okay, well, here's a group of Muslim youths and their culture, but here's how they're exactly the same as you are. There's still a group of young Muslim women like on their social media in the middle of a mosque. Right? They're in mosque, they're in church, but they're still screwing around. They're taking selfies. They're still
Not that different.
It's the exact same as you. It's just in a different environment. And I think
instead of the pastor coming, it's the imam coming.
Exactly,
Or
right?
just
Like
they
it's-
would, in a Jewish show, they would have a rabbi, right? I mean,
she even makes a
the
comment.
players are still the same.
Yes.
She makes a comment, something like, because she gets in trouble for
There's
talking.
still a group called the Plastics. And there's still
Exactly.
There's still the nerds.
You
and,
guys haven't watched
there's,
it?
There's
a group. It's
Miss
hilarious.
Marvel. No, I
There's
haven't
there's
seen
a
it.
group
Just
of
one
her. There's a group of women that are like the gossip group in the community.
The
And
Plastics.
They call them the Illuminantes.
That's amazing.
They're the group of the aunties of everyone, but they're always the one gossiping over everything. So the Illuminati.
But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what culture, what country, or where you.
No.
There's always that group, right? Like what movie was I? What was the Disney one with the guy with the rings? I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi. Like Shang-Chi had like there was like
Shang-Chi.
there was like the gossipy aunties in that one
Yes.
too, right? Like it's the
I think it really goes to
We all
show
gossip.
people that don't have a lot of exposure to other cultures that the kids are just the same as you. That culture's
the players in each of the cultures are still the same.
Exactly.
They're still the power hungry guy, and they're still like the this,
overbearing parents,
or
and
the
annoying brother or sister.
Totally.
Like
Totally.
it's all the tropes are the same. We just change where
the
we're from.
really nice boss who's equitable and cares, and
And that's
then
what I
the
like about it.
asshole.
it does. It's doing a good job of that, and I say give it a chance because it really does.
For me, it was more. It seemed kind of teeny bopper, and
And I also
like
like the way it's filmed. There's some parts in it that I really enjoy with the cinematography. Like they'll be communicating via text message. And instead of like telling us what they're
Their
saying or showing the
VFX is very
screen,
good. Yep.
it'll be like they'll be panning up a building and they're having a text message, and the LED sign on the outside of the building will actually represent what they're like. We'll say their message, but like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it's on the side of a building.
Rob and Mark, it's very Scott Pilgrim.
Yes,
is what
in that
I
sense.
have.
I love Scott
So
Pilgrim.
do you know how they like? You know when he punches and all the quarters
Yeah.
fall
Yeah.
It also does how to sell drugs on the internet,
with the YouTube channel?
right? Where they like things pop up, on top of and superimpose. They do that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool.
VFX game strong.
Yes.
Miss Marvel. Okay, how many Avenger cons out of 10 do you give Miss Marvel?
See, I've watched a little bit.
I've
of it.
watched enough. I read.
You know what? I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Even from my perspective, an 8 out of 10. I think for the younger generation.
What's her name? What's her name that's playing her? Miss Marvel. Because she's just a fucking joy and a half.
What? I don't know what the actress's name is.
Let me
Her name in
go
the
to
show is
IMDb.
Kamala Khan.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I think
But I don't know what.
It's Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. Yeah, Because Captain Marvel is her jam. Captain Marvel is her love, right? That's correct?
I'm learning a lot about the partition.
Oh, it's a mini series. It's not even
of India and Pakistan and how it separated families. Like they really go into the history, which is fascinating.
Well, and he was saying too that, and I love this from American Gods. I learned about the Jinn, which is a Pakistan. Mon Vellani, thank you. She's a joy. From what I saw,
she's fantastic.
I just didn't think it would provide enough for a 39-year-old man. But Mark had you told me, you're like, you get over the 15-year-old girl real quick, and I'm like, okay, if I know that's coming, I can go back.
If
to
you can
it.
get over yourself,
yeah, that's my problem. Is that can I go back to 15-year-old girl Michael? But I'll watch it. I'll definitely watch
when
it.
Michael was a 15-year-old girl.
When Rob, what have you been putting away with daughter and with wife?
I mean, The Boys is really the biggest thing that I've been watching. I've really been loving Stranger Things.
I hear
I think it's fucking awesome.
Firing on all cylinders.
It's just they're very long episodes, and I'm trying not to break them up. So it's finding enough time.
I've heard they're movies. I don't.
Every episode is an hour to an hour and a half long.
But isn't the finale 2 hours?
That hasn't been released. There's a second part.
So there's a 2-part finale.
Season 4 is 7 episodes are all an hour to an hour and a half, and then there's a part 2 that has I think an extra 5 episodes or something, and the season finale will be 2 hours, and each one of those episodes is an hour plus.
You're getting a movie.
Yeah, I haven't even started.
It is legitimately fucking freaky and scary this season.
Really?
Like the other seasons where it had their scary points and stuff, but it's the point where Micheal can't watch it. She actually told me, she goes, I can't watch Stranger Things. I'm having nightmares, and you can go ahead and just watch it without me.
That's crazy because I left it after 2 seasons and I thought it was going to be some young adult sci-fi cool shit that I was just like, okay, I get that if you're an 80s fan and this nostalgia bomb that they're creating each season is fun and they're playing off of entire era of film and television, but I was just like, you know what? I'm okay not knowing the Upside Down, but it's going darker.
It goes darker.
I thought season 3 was great.
Season 3 was great.
Yeah.
I didn't come back for 3.
Yeah.
Dude, season
Lots
3,
of nostalgia in season 3.
I've heard.
Tons. And
Like-
they bring in a new character and her brother, and then the ending with that is fucking
The
nuts.
mall is great.
The mall's fight scene at the
Yeah.
end?
Whose song has now all of a sudden running up a hill? Kate
yeah.
Bush.
Kate
Yes.
Bush, yeah.
Kate Bush made $2.3 million in the last 2 months from streaming because her song has
500 million listens or something.
the resurgence from being in this season of Stranger Things, and the youth of today not knowing who Kate Bush is or hearing this song and it being attached to a character.
It's like when you see on a Reddit feed that somebody's like, "Oh man, Drake is giving props to Paul McCartney. He's gonna blow up, man."
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those fucking
People are like,
handshakes.
"What the fuck?"
But I heard that song was applied to a specific character's story.
Correct.
And it really that scene without that song wouldn't be
basically it's her favorite song,
okay.
and listening to your favorite song helps you in a situation. And that's I will leave it at that without ruining
TikTok
anything.
certainly didn't hurt that song.
No, it didn't. No, it did not. But TikTok will do a thing for people who want to make a thing, but for someone to go and enjoy that song now and have an attachment to it, that scene I hear is
TikTok's super good at giving the Chinese government analytics on everything you do.
I know.
That's what I heard.
That's why I put us all on there, guys. I just want them to make AI out of all of us. So the more I can give them, I feel like I'm trying to. We're good people, right? So if our AI is used, we'll be good. All right. So Stranger Things is fucking.
I think it's
legit.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Did Lucy watch Kenobi with you?
She watched a little bit of it, but she's still a little bit young, right? Like she's into certain parts when we watch a Star Wars show or movie, but she's not
Vader
quite...
being pensive, looking off into the stars is
dude.
better than Vader's half shield crushed open, being like, "You didn't kill Anakin, I did."
Yeah, like I haven't seen the last couple episodes of Obi-Wan. I'm a little bit behind, but
I will shut the fuck up.
He is so. I know that already happened though. The internet already ruined that for me. But it's just he's so fucking unhinged.
Yes.
Like when he's on Tatooine and he shows up, he's just fucking killing guys left, right, and fucking force choking and just snapping guys' necks, and you're just
when he fights,
what the fuck?
When he fights with Third Sister and does, have you seen the Third Sister fight?
Mm-hmm.
where he doesn't think she's worthy of fighting with a lightsaber. Everything is all hand and force movement. That was so reminiscent of a 70s kung fu film. Pick anyone you want, but it was just like the whoosh, whoosh, hush, hush, and you're like, this fucker's off the rail. There's nothing holding Vader back.
The thing that got me there about how powerful Vader is when he walks through the doors and he brings the ship back with the fucking force. I'm like, holy fuck. Like,
or when he
strong.
starts the fire and throws Obi-Wan in it.
Yes.
I'm gonna drag you through the same shit you put me through, fucker. It was all fantastic. Did you put away anything for yourself at all? Any of your oddball alien shows or any other that shit that you watched? No. All right,
that's pretty much it.
So
I haven't been watching as much TV.
Yeah, summer doesn't.
Well, yeah, I would.
And
imagine.
I've been upset because there's been a few movies that I've wanted to see in the theater and I haven't had a chance. I need to go see Top Gun.
Me and Jimmy are going on Monday no matter what. Do you want to come?
Yeah, maybe I'll come.
Let's just all go on Monday.
Like late show?
Yeah, I'm down.
Is it in the It's on the IMAX still, is it?
No, it'd be at what Landmark? I mean,
okay.
Like nonetheless, still.
I might be into that.
Okay, we'll revisit that after the show. How many hills that you felt that you wanted to run up out of 10 do you give it?
Of what, Stranger Things?
Yeah.
This season, I would give it 9.
Really?
Yeah.
It's almost on the hit list.
I also like it too that they've put different. Each season, kind of like you've got your main characters, but each season, one character, the story kind of works around them.
Okay.
So this season they kind of shifted. So it's in the past it was always kind of around the two brothers. A lot of the stuff was, and it's shifted to other characters, which I like.
Charles was saying a lot of the same things that you were saying. Like he was. You guys are probably around.
I mean, everything will always still center around Elle. She's the main character.
Yeah.
But the other sub stories, it's definitely kind of catering a little bit.
I've read that's what people are saying, that you're getting more. You're getting a buffet of characters now instead of everybody chasing Elle, trying to save Elle, and make
well,
sure.
there's more story arcs and sub arcs and stuff. And the newest character that they've added, the character they added this season is the D&D leader guy. And he's fucking awesome.
He's a chubby kid, right? The little
no.
Oh no! Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's his name? Peter?
I can't remember. I'm so bad with characters' names lately.
Do they give like almost like a good chunk of the season to developing one of these guys? Like, is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
like...
the thing is, the episodes are so fucking long. Like you have lots of time.
I'm starting it soon. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you have 45 minutes, there's only so much you can do. That's why, I feel like these shows need to be a dead hour. And that's why I feel like if you're listening Netflix and if you're wondering why your shit is fucking going down, maybe, and HBO too, stop doing 10 episodes or 9 and go back to 13 1-hour episodes, which is the classic,
It's the streaming model.
Well, no, that was the HBO model, right? Like,
well, yeah, they are the streaming model. They
like think about all the great shows, Mad Men and Breaking Bad that were on AMC. They were hour-long shows. Like
you can do these little things at the end where you can have more time to. I feel that the majority of that is usually spent in the third.
That extra 15 to 20 minutes is
in the
big.
third. In the third act of anything is so huge because it alleviates the cliffhanger. And gives you more time to watch something play out, and then it's like you're jerked off to completion instead of left hanging for another episode.
You got to hit that the sweet spot. In
yeah,
the middle.
give me my vinegar face.
What off?
It's that Goldilocks zone.
It's 6-minute abs. That's the number. It's 6, not 5. It's 6.
What movie is that from?
That's
Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Harlan Williams. What's the comedian's
It's
name?
Harlan Williams.
Yeah, Harlan Williams, who's the murderer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like, you're in a 7-minute abs. I invented 6. Was that 6
Not
minute
5.
abs?
Not 6.
What about 5-minute abs? No, not 5. 6. 6 is an.
You're not getting an elevated heart rate. 5 minutes.
I watched Spiderhead.
I watched half of it.
Okay, let me tell you about the other half. Spiderhead is the Netflix advertising flop. I think they did such a bad job at advertising that film. So Miles Teller's in it, Chris Hemsworth is in it, Juicy Smoulet's sister. I can't remember her first name, but she's fucking cool as a cucumber. And who else is in it that I'm forgetting? Some people.
Should I finish it?
I
got tired and I had to go to bed.
Okay, yeah, then finish it. Because there is a big twist. It does have a really cool twist.
Okay, well that's
good.
good.
It's the future, and criminals are now completing drug trials for pharmaceutical companies, And Chris Hemsworth
Near
is
future.
Near
Near
future.
future.
Yeah. And they created a pack that
Okay, it's the present.
it's a Black Mirror.
It's 2023.
It's Black Mirror come true. So like these packs that are put on you have doses of hormones in them, and they are testing them out to see if they can control how people feel and adjust them accordingly. So instead of taking pills a day, what you end up doing is you just turn up Levelax, and then you are more in love.
Or they
with,
add more fear.
yes,
Or, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you can't explain a thing, they give you this thing that gives you more words. Like, so while they're testing you after
Oh,
they've
yeah, that's right. It's like a vocabulary.
yeah,
kinda
like
boost.
vocabum or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they're all these like Latin names and shit. But then you find out that the real version of the drug trial,
Vocabum isn't Latin, just so you know.
it's Latin to me.
It just sounds like Latin.
Thank you. For all the people out there who don't speak Latin, I was right for a second. So like, then you find out the reason
Comes from the Latin wordus knowus.
There's a Roman priest listening to. There's a Roman Catholic priest listening right now and going, "Damn you, Michael!"
San Diego is whale's vagina. So
Doesn't it mean San Diego? No.
when you find out that the drug trial's for a totally different reason, which is the big twist, I don't want to spoil it for you. The patients revolt and go after the drug company, and then you find out. But Hemsworth is like the douchiest of douches. He's like,
He's a great asshole.
yeah, he's a great like head of a company, Fortune 500, all those buzzwords and everything. And Miles Teller, it's a short story actually that was pulled from the New Yorker, made into a film. That's its birthplace.
Oh, cool.
Super futuristic, but what I love about it the most, like
They're all like non-violent criminals too.
yeah,
pretty much, I think.
well, one guy's there for rape. The big guy.
Yeah.
Did you get to the big guy?
with the tattoos?
Yeah. But
when Teller goes in the room with him, he's like, "No,
yeah,
no," because he thinks he's gonna have to fuck him.
the setup is that the previous scene, two people were put in a room that weren't attracted to each other, and the science was if they were both given the love drug, well, they just immediately fall for each other. So they're pumped full of it. They fuck like rabbits, and then when the drug wears off, they're like, "Get off me." Get off me, right? The next scene is the exact same drug, but two guys in a room. And Miles is like, fuck no, I do not authorize. Do not turn, no. And then the guy's like, shut up, mate. Won't be that fucking bad because he's from Australia. And eventually he's like, no, we're just kidding. We're not going to give you that drug.
And he's
guys."
like a big dude. He's like 6'9" and like fucking.
He's
like,
not what you want to be touched by inappropriately.
Like he probably has like a 10-inch.
Or maybe
dick.
you do. Who knows?
Hey, whatever
Possibly.
your bag is, baby.
Possibly.
All in all, okay, seven drug packs out of 10, right? Worth finishing, but at the
Okay.
same time, like, finish it when you have time. Don't rush back to it.
I think to your point, I don't think it was marketed well.
No,
They basically just said, "Hey, Chris Hemsworth's in this movie," and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
the director of Top Gun Maverick directed this movie.
Oh.
Joseph Kominsky, I believe
Okay.
his name is. Miles Teller was in theater with Top Gun when this came out. Top Gun's still in theater because it's making $4 billion. None of these things were mentioned or advertised on any fucking social media platform, any website, any news article, nothing. And it's like, why did none of these people want this film to do well? Also, 3 weeks before Thor and Love and Thunder comes out. Like, you're in this triangle of marketing awesomeness that you'll
It's
get
because
eyes.
Netflix
is
is
fucked.
fucked.
Yeah. They've cut a ton of jobs.
I don't think it's even that. I think they've run on this growth model. You got to have us just because we're Netflix, and it was working for a while. But now they've got to restructure and kind of figure out what their vision is for the next bit.
And I get that. And, for your other stuff, but that was turnkey. That was ready to go. That was somebody else did all the work for you.
Yeah.
You made a movie with these actors and two other major studios.
They need to rely on conventional media to re-hype stuff up to get eyeballs there again,
Yes. And
and they don't want to.
I would have loved to have been like, love Thor, Love and Thunder, love Top Gun Maverick, watch this movie. Like,
Love Extraction.
It just, that bothered me the whole movie because I was like, I was taken out of the story because I was so preoccupied at how dumb Netflix is right now that I'm like, I'm not giving this movie the full shot it deserves, but at the same time, beautifully shot. Cinematically, like all of the VFX, it's this beautiful countryside where this like weird complex is. Very like Ex Machina in a way.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Something sinister is
Kind of
going on.
Bond villainish.
Yeah, very Bond villain. Other things I checked out. Alone, the new season of Alone is fucking fantastic. They figured out how to market that show and make
What
it
series? Or which streaming service?
Prime Video, but through History Channel.
Fucking Prime sucks.
Yeah, but their
It's
channel
so
options are great.
Fucking hard to find anything.
Oh yeah, searching on Prime is the worst. But when you get like when you get Stack TV and you get all
I have
of
Stack TV.
Okay, so through that, Alone is there, and
But again, it's really fucking hard to find what you want.
well, when you get there, Rob, Alone season 9.
I'm gonna complain.
They're in Newfoundland.
Okay.
They are being chased by polar bears. That's the mammal that occupies the area. But instead of
so
making
like Labrador part.
Labrador,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
very Labrador. What they're doing though is instead of making it where everybody finally figured out their shelter, the way they film it, right? Everybody films their own shit. Then they send in, and then they've got like 500 producers that go through countless hours of footage to make the show. They used to make it so that you could never tell who was winning or who was ahead of the game. They all finished their shelters at the same time. They all started catching food at the same time in the show.
But you don't know where in the timeline they are.
You don't know where they are in their timeline, right? So you're like, well, they're all doing this. So you must think in your head that it must not be as easy because they're all eventually getting to the next hardest thing. I've got my shelter. Now I've got to get food. Now I've got to protect myself, all that shit. So now they've made it where they're just filming how people ended up. So you can be like, this guy right here has got a shelter built in like 12 days and someone else is still under a tarp after 30, right? And it's more interesting to watch because now you're seeing them truly suffer by comparison instead of all in unison doing a show.
Oh, that's good.
And it's all professional outdoorsmen, outdoors women, right? Outdoors people. They thrive on being in the middle of fucking
So
nowhere.
these people interview for the show,
Yeah.
get selected,
Yeah.
and then they basically say they let them know in advance what type of environment they're going to get dropped into.
Yep, they know where they're going.
Explain it because I've
So,
never
okay.
seen the show, so I don't know anything about it.
You are given.
It sounds like Survivor, but good.
yes.
One person survivor.
Yeah, one person Survivor, but you don't have a fucking flush toilet 5 minutes
The-
away.
Like you only have to survive.
Yeah.
You need to eat, shelter, live.
Stay warm. So imagine
So
that
they give them some limited rations at the beginning.
No.
No.
You get
So-
to bring like
What,
7 items or something like that.
So what are you allowed to bring? Tell
you are allowed to bring a set of thermals and a full outdoor outfit. So like an outdoor windbreaker, pants, your thermals. I think you're allowed a second set of clothes. So you're allowed to have 2 in case one gets wet.
Okay.
You can dry one out. You're allowed flint, so your striker.
'Kay.
But like you're allowed a core kit.
Do you get like a knife and
Yeah.
a hatchet?
Yeah.
Do you get like something to cook with?
Yes.
Okay.
But at the same time,
Do you get some water
No.
at the start?
No.
No.
You have to go boil. Cool.
You're right by water most of the time. So
Your environment.
Yeah, they're not dropping them in the middle of the desert.
No, they're not.
All right, we're dropping you in the Sahara. Good luck.
It's northern Canada most of the time. It's BC, Alaska, Northwest Territories.
Okay.
So everybody gets a certain amount of kit, which you can go online and take a look at any time. But like you only get like 9 arrows, which you can bring a bow and arrow. But if the area you're in doesn't allow for net fishing, then you can't net fish at all. And if that's the only way to catch fish, you have to improvise and fly fish, right? So you build a rod out of wood, and then you bring
You
the
got to
twine.
make a spike.
or
you
make a
get lots
spike.
of they get paracord and
Yes.
some other kind of twine, and they're always making elaborate cool things out of
Okay.
like the cord and
It essentially is.
So these men and women on here are like
Yeah.
the shit.
Oh, yeah.
They're the tippy top of the outdoor survivalist game.
Like they're
world.
tough as fuck.
Yeah.
Like half of the people there have lost like half of a toe at some point. Probably
Well,
frostbite.
they've put
that's
themselves.
That's how tough they are.
the dude who won the one year had like a full shelter with a door, like a stove, chimney, a separate smokehouse. He killed a giant animal, made himself like a fur coat. Like he was like living large out in the
It's
middle
nuts,
of the bush.
man. And
Like not just surviving, like thriving.
like they grade the land
Fucking fur coat.
He did. He was
did,
modeling
he
it on
did.
one of these. Made himself.
and they
So
give,
so they get a sewing kit. I'm assuming.
no
So what do? He made like his own fucking.
probably carved a bone down to a needle.
Yeah.
and then put his twine in it and threaded it.
Like these are real survival people.
yeah,
Holy fuck!
off the land, dude.
These are the kind of dudes you want to be your neighbor because when shit goes wrong,
when
you're
we,
like
yeah.
you're like, Hey, bro, you got guns and rations? Can I come with you?
Yeah, they're fucking preppers, all right.
Yeah.
For sure. But and like the way the show works is Survivor and every other show is you're all together, right? You're on a team. This is you're all against each other, and the only way you know you win is when the producers fly into your spot and be like, "You're the winner."
So you're not anywhere near. They each have X amount of square kilometers around them.
They're kilometers,
and it's
from
whoever
each
can
other.
survive the longest.
Yeah. So you could be out there for 200 days because you're competing against one other person or 9 other people, and you never know who's left.
And they don't give you any updates at
Nope.
all. Do they come and check on people periodically?
Med checks every so often.
There are med checks because
And they come and give them fresh batteries for the cameras, and
Yes.
that kind of stuff, and take their existing footage and all that jazz. Okay.
That's the only thing that happens.
But they don't like stop. Like there's one season there because people know what things are edible, right? So it's like, I'm eating these berries, and then like in post, clearly the guy's eating these berries, and that's all I got to eat, and then it flashes up on the screen. Eating more than just a few of these berries causes extreme intestinal distress, and you just see the guy just chomping down, and then the next scene he's fucking puking. And
Yeah. Here's an example. Guy goes after a beaver, and they're all ethical hunters, right? They all want to kill and take it all. So guy goes after a beaver, shoots it with an arrow, and we're talking like fucking like indigenous style bows here. Like nothing. We're not
compound bows.
No compound bows.
Like pre-copper
Recurve
society.
bows.
Like,
Recurve,
like
there it is,
Stone
yeah.
Age shit.
Yeah. As close to the land as possible. And so he gets the beaver, but the beaver gets away. He's like, I'm not going to find this thing tonight. So he lets it go overnight, finds it the next morning, brings it back. And I'm like, I know a little about what they do. And I'm like, you have 3 to 4 hours before the meat rots.
No, you're okay.
He got so fucking sick. He
How-
took the beaver.
How cold was it?
It was off the shore, just out of the water in the sunlight.
Oh, okay.
So we don't know
and it was
how.
above. And it was above zero.
It was above zero.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, but he was like, I'm hungry. I need food. I'm willing to risk it.
Did he cook it?
Yeah, he cooked it. But in beavers, there is something that creates intense stomach cramping and diarrhea and everything. And like, the rest of his time, he had to go home because he got sick from the beaver.
Probably got giardia.
That was one of the things on the screen that they said he might have. And that's
Well,
the
giardia
thing.
is called beaver fever.
Okay, then that's what he had.
And it's a common thing is that if you're like out, don't drink water that's right near a beaver lodge because the beavers shit in the water.
Yeah, I've
and
heard
that's
this
where
too.
The giardia
Yeah.
can come from. Yeah.
Anyways, if you want to watch people get really pushed up against the elements
That's
and
cool.
survive in some cool fucking ways, they do one
This
season.
show actually, you're selling me on the show. Like I'm actually fucking excited to watch this.
It's great late night television.
and there's
Is there a good
there's a big-
narrator?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a good mental
yeah.
aspect to it. Like some
Yeah.
people do really well surviving, but they can't handle being alone and away from their family and
Imagine-
fucking with them. And
Imagine a limited water source.
Are they allowed to bring a book or something to read?
no, and there's like guys like there's like little like ground mice and stuff. And there's one episode where the mice keep fucking running through the guy's bed, and he's going crazy because he just fucking hears them underneath him, and he can't do anything about
Or
it.
do they get a
and-
sleeping bag?
No.
Yeah, they do. No, they do. They get.
They get a sleeping bag,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they make their own beds like with like pine
Yeah.
boughs and
Yeah.
like, yeah.
They usually they get a tarp
You mean
first.
you're not? Oh yeah, and do they have a tarp? They get given a tarp as well?
Their tarp is usually their lean-to when they get there, so they'll make something just to keep them out of the rain.
Dude made a boat one time out of his
He
tarp.
did make a fucking boat, and he got out and he fished, and he had different lines out in his area, and he would pedal out in his boat, and he would check his lines and pull up fucking huge fish. Like he was in a
but
tarp.
a really
Rudimentary
sketchy boat.
Yeah, you do not want to be in this boat unless this is what you were doing. And the one season, this one you'll love.
You know, we're
so-
talking about this a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
We're gonna have to edit this down.
Yeah, that's fine. No, people love it.
No,
though.
man, this show's fucking dope, man.
I'm just gonna hashtag.
So it's called Alone, and it's on History Channel.
Yeah.
Or on Stack TV
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't have cable like a normal person.
So
for you boomers out there, it's on History Channel, and for everybody else,
Listen, I have History Channel.
on your tube TV, I give it like
you watch sports though. That's why you still have cable.
I give
Fair
it
enough.
Yeah.
I give it 7 out of 10.
Giardia tabs.
Giardia tabs. That's it. 7 out of 10 Giardia tabs. Poor Tim. Sorry you went home, Tim. Hopefully next year. You can try
Giardia
it again.
is some serious shit.
It looked like
And
it
it will
because
give
he
you the
was
shits.
he was in fucking pain.
Oh well, a lot of times you got to go to the hospital because they've got to give you intravenous antibiotics, and they've got to put you on an IV because you're throwing up and shitting so much that you start suffering from extreme dehydration. Like that is fucking. It's serious.
It's amazing how many things out in the wilderness can give you really bad shits and make you puke. Because that's usually why people go home. The people are like they're curled up and they have horrible stomach cramps and they yeah. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten those fucking mushrooms. Right?
But again, they're so fucking hungry. You're willing to take
exactly.
And it's funny how like human history we've developed all this institutional knowledge about what to eat and what to not to eat. But you have to think at some point there was a human and then there was a group of people. They were like, we should eat these berries. Let's have Freddie here try them first. And Freddie ate them. Hey, did Freddie live? No, Freddie died. Okay, don't eat those berries.
Don't eat
Note to self.
Don't eat the Freddie berries.
Don't eat the Freddie berries.
Why do you call them Freddie berries? Well,
because Freddie died. Or Freddie lives, and everyone's like, hey, Freddie, are you feeling good? Oh, yeah, those berries were great. Perfect. Always eat the Freddie berries.
Exactly. Well, there's a couple times the difference between like something that's edible and something that you should actually eat.
Yeah.
Because, yes, it's edible, but only in like small amounts.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are like, well, this is all I got. And it's like the thin layer underneath the bark that one person was eating. And it's got like no calories in it, basically. Yep. But it totally like clenches up your insides.
They'll go to frostbite, dude. They'll let their toes go black, and then they get the med check, and then the meds are like, "Okay, you've lost 40 pounds, and your hands are black. So sorry, we're pulling you." And then
that's fair.
They won't. Yeah, they won't.
Well, that's the other thing too. If you're going to do this kind of show, you would definitely bulk up beforehand. So you've got
one dude lost so much fucking weight. He put on like 60 pounds to go, and he just fucking shed it all.
Right now, there's a guy from Manitoba on. He's from Pinawa. And he's from Mexico. He's Mexican, and he's on this show.
Man.
What surprised me is that one dude that he eats like all this meat, and he's got a shit ton of meat, but he's still losing weight and getting so sick because he's got no fat. Like a lot of the wild animals don't have enough fat on them to actually give you the calories you need. So that was interesting to find out. Anyways,
if you like nature, if you like ice dildos up your bum, if you like 11 and the underground, is it the underground or the upside down? I forgot. That's
upside down.
Upside down.
If you like any of those things, kids, there's your weekly watch list for you. As promised, we have some stuff.
And Russian prisons.
Yeah, Russian prisons.
Quick 10-minute segment on what did you watch?
All right, that's a wrap.
It's funny because we could cut that, like in a director's cut, for example.
Ooh.
Right? Or you could let it all go and it doesn't fucking matter, which brings us to...
Well, it's a good thing we don't work for a big studio.
Right? Because
who thinks they know best.
Yeah, we know our creative rights.
I'm pretty sure you know where I stand on this side.
Yeah, no, I definitely can. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we have two topics for this week's Real Talk. We have director's cuts and we have most shocking moments on television. And we're going to start with director's cuts. Now, for anybody out there who doesn't know what this is, which I'm only explaining this because it would be rude to assume, a director's cut is whatever they've shot in its entirety. It's their vision. It's the way they want it edited. Nobody gets in the way. The director,
right?
The director, yeah. So, like Zack Snyder's Justice League was the biggest one in the news recently.
Yes.
Which has kind of caused a resurgence of director's cuts because I remember Jason Ayer was like, there's a Suicide cut or Suicide Squad director's cut that would make it a lot better. Which, I mean, I hope that's the case.
Well, there's a director's cut of everything, period.
Well,
End of story. Because there's the director's cut that after the laborious editing and reshoots and all that kind of shit, the director goes, here's my finished movie and gives it to the executives. And then
it's
they
4.5 hours long.
And then they cut it down.
Well, yes, or they don't get to do that, and they're mandated to, like, if you're a big studio, you shoot what the studio asked for, and if you have some time, you're like, let's do one more for art,
one for me,
and let's do it this way. And then when that footage is shot, they go, no, we don't want to see that when they ask them to do that in the editing room. So there sometimes is the director's cut, which is here's what I envision the film to be. Then there's no. It's only what we want. This is what we've bought and paid for. And then that goes out, and then we never see what it would have
Or there's
originally
David
been.
Fincher. We're going to do 1,000 takes, and that's why I only do digital.
Well, and
Hey, David Fincher, why were you such an early adopter of digital? Well, it's because I like to do 1,000 takes, and it was too expensive to do it on film.
Pretty much. No, that's how digital.
That's one of them. I don't think he's ever said that, but I think it's been alluded to.
And you're gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, in defining it, director's cut. Even the title tends to imply that there's some cutting to it. Like, there could be, like, director's cut doesn't need to be longer. Like,
yes,
you could leave more in.
Yes.
Sometimes the director's cut is to put in alternate storylines.
Very much so.
Sometimes it's cutting out stuff. Like the director didn't want this character's story arc, so in his vision, that character is fucking gone.
It's so many different
Sometimes
ways
it's showing that Han shot first.
This is very true. And now, okay, let's start with the simple question, I guess. Here's the fan question. Should we always get one?
I would like to think that the movies we get are the director's cut, but that's simply not.
That's not the case.
It's
Even Nolan has to bow down to Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like
He pretty much gets to do whatever the fuck he wants.
he does when it comes to his ideas and making his film, but then they're like,
But they don't let him do 3.5-hour movies.
No, they don't.
I think they cap him at 3.
Like, is Tarantino kind of the closest person who gets to do whatever the fuck he wants
Tarantino gets
to do?
whatever the fuck he wants.
That's true as well too. These
That's
are
why there's not really many Tarantino director's cuts of things.
But Tarantino also respects how long the attention span of an average watcher is.
Working
and
in
and I think there's a limit to what he's willing to do on a length of a movie.
as a fan, as somebody who learned how to do the process by being around the process in a rental store, yeah, that's something that not a lot of directors have. They have the I don't care about your attention span. I just care about putting out three acts and that's it. And it's standard, but he knows. He knows when to shut up the
use
character.
Zack Snyder's example of Justice League, he turned a movie into like a 3-part series, basically. Because his director's cut is like 4.5 hours long, isn't it?
It is, and it comes in segments.
Yeah.
And
so
there's different titles for each part of the film.
almost his 3 acts are 3 separate movies.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Now,
Which I
also hate that
I'm
it was
not mad
4x3.
you hate that it was 4x3?
Fucking hate it.
Did you watch the black and white version?
Yes. Liked it.
It felt like an old
4x3.
It felt like a real detective movie, right? Like it.
You know what? It still would have made it feel like a detective movie if it was fucking widescreen.
That comes from somebody, ladies and gentlemen, who's in the audio video game. So we don't expect you.
Oh,
to,
really? You don't think movie lovers appreciate that?
I'm not saying. I just know that you as someone.
So why don't you watch some fucking Cheers from 1982 and tell me how obnoxious it is to be in 4x3?
I'm watching Seinfeld right now and I'm suffering it.
I like
know
when
what
they
you're saying.
play
I was just about to
between.
say Seinfeld.
I like
And then
when they
you
play between the aspect ratios. When you go close up and you do like 4x3 and then like wide panning shots, you switch.
For sure, but they
Eternals did that.
But
where it was
they
switch by
but they already
did.
do that. They switch between 16:9 and 2.35:1, so you're going to the thinner aspect ratio. But that's been a trick of the trade for years, especially and that's why they've got IMAX enhanced version on Disney Plus, and that actually plays between those aspect ratios throughout the movie, just
I
like
like
you would
that.
in the theater. I love it.
What? So, Mark.
And it helps you focus on.
But I don't like
important-
4x3. I don't. That's old TVs to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a snob. I don't know.
Should we? So
Maybe.
yes or no? Should we
I
always
am.
get a director's cut, Mark?
That's
Not always. No.
No.
I like to get excited when I hear one's coming out.
Okay. So you
If
like the
10% of the movies have a director's cut. I think it's kind of cool.
Okay, Rob. Do you think that it should always be the truest, most honest version of whatever the director's vision was, or?
what do I think the director's cuts are?
No. Do you think we should always get one?
No, because not every movie needs it. An 88-minute
The director's cut of 10 things I hate about you.
An 88, yeah, that's a good example,
Who's
right?
going to come back to?
However,
I was really into the she's not that into you director's cut. It's
However,
amazing.
I do if I'm watching Van Wilder on like when I go to watch Van Wilder now, if I watch it on a streaming service, it fucking sucks. I want to watch the unrated version with an extra 7 minutes of boobs and just more off the wall shit that didn't make it in the theatrical release.
100%.
And on some
Boobs
level,
make that story.
the unrated versions actually is almost a director's cut of some of these comedies, and they're better.
Yes.
The unrated versions of Harold and Kumar movies, way better. I like Harold and Kumar 2 as well, where on the video you can switch between the topless party and the pantless party when he goes to that one guy's house.
Well, and
It's funny. That's
sometimes
funny.
the scenes that they cut out, they think they're just cutting it for time,
But it adds a
they're
lot.
good scenes. Like
Yes.
Or they're-
Step Brothers, there's a scene where they're at the dinner table with the fancy sauce, and that gets cut out of so many versions of it.
But the fancy sauce is my favorite because I love ketchup and mayo together, and I'm always like fancy sauce.
They
And
make-
nobody gets
and
it.
people don't get it if they've never
Yeah.
seen the extended version.
They make mayo chup now, inspired by like it's just in one bottle.
Ah,
so
the
it's
fancy
perfect
sauce.
mix of both.
That's what it
and they
is.
couldn't. They can't call it fancy sauce because trademark, right? Yeah, no, I agree with you both. I think that if you do anything too much, you take away how special it is.
Certain types of movies deserve it, right? And I mean, let's use the most famous example of a director's cut, which is Blade Runner. Purely simple. That's the first one that always pops in my head.
Okay.
Because that was the first time they re-released a movie with the director's cut.
Ridley
And it was
Scott
and it was a
being
and it was a
Ridley,
big
yeah.
deal to release that in the theater.
Well, and doesn't it give an extension of Rutger Hauer's character? Doesn't he have the big monologue in the director's cut that's cut in the original?
His monologue is cut down in the theatrical version, right? They also add a better ending where you actually go, oh, you start to think more about is he also
Has he become sentient?
exactly right,
Yeah.
and those types of things. So I
Fuck,
think
it's such a good story.
it's really good.
I gotta watch it again.
Have you read the book?
No.
You should read the book. The book's insane.
I'm gonna read. I watch.
And much of the time, it's for those of us that really like, especially now that like the backstory to things, it gives you director's cuts tend to develop characters way more.
Just a little bit more.
Like
Just-
if you want to
yeah.
take Zack Snyder as an example,
Sure.
like Cyborg's character, we missed. Like Cyborg didn't mean anything to me in the theatrical
Cyborg's
release.
the linchpin of the whole fucking film in his cut.
And you really understand the background and why he is what he is and how he was created and his father and
It's because Josh Whedon's a racist.
Yes,
and that's a unique thing where you're getting two directors.
you are, and
Right.
and that's see the
I
director's
feel
cut.
like one is vanilla and one is like
Swirl?
chocolate swirl.
Well, that's a different director's cut because the one that comes to my mind is Dances with Wolves, the 4.5 hour version of it that took out a lot.
I've
of
never seen that.
Oh, give it a go. Give it a go because the adventure is now 4 hours where you talk about cutting for time. A lot of the stuff that's cut into the director's cut is time that are mindless scenes. It's him around his base camp once he finds it. It's his attempts at learning who the indigenous are of the area, right? But it's him learning who Two Socks is, his wolf that keeps running back. Like there's so much more that by the end of the film, you're invested in this adventure that was cut for time. Well, this movie is about coming across the last of the best of America at the time, right after the Civil War. So it should be a long fucking ride. It should be a long walk to Mordor. It shouldn't be this quick 2-hour run where I'm like, no. There's no way that he made.
Do you
it.
still cry at the end?
Yeah, I cry all the
I
time.
know. I always cry when I watch Dances with Wolves.
Mani Tutanko Owachi or
Nobody
whatever.
did.
Like, it's
short
so good.
Short movies were the norm though for so long.
They were.
88
Like
minutes, baby.
they told you how to feel.
Yes.
They introduced a character and they tell you this guy is an asshole. They don't show that he's an asshole and you develop your feelings that he's
Show
an
me.
asshole.
Don't talk to me.
Exactly. So for so long, we're just being fed. Here is the antagonist. Here is the protagonist.
that
we
was-
are introducing the asshole.
That was the original golden age of Hollywood. It was like, contract actors and studios. And
Yes.
here's how the movie's made. Nobody knew
System.
who the fucking director was because it didn't matter because it was systematic.
Yep.
I love the idea of they introduce a character and you don't know. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Where's he like? And that we get in the longer versions of things. That's what we're getting now that we have miniseries on TV that they're embracing. Movies are turning into 6-part series.
Yeah.
Because that's really a movie. Like Miss Marvel or any of these shows
8-hour movie.
are movies,
Yep.
but we're getting basically a 6 or 8 hour movie.
Well, and you only call it a series because it's a series of episodes. If you could call it a mini movie instead of a mini series,
Yeah.
it just mini movie doesn't sound good, right?
I
Sounds
loved
like
character
short.
development.
So
Yeah.
do I.
For you, I mean, I know Justice League.
I like
is on the
backstory.
tip of your
Yeah.
tongue.
I like it when shows jump back to a future scene to explain
Oh,
what's
yeah.
happening in that scene because that's the way humans are. You'll be experiencing something in the present, and these snapshots of memories and experiences you've had in the past are affecting how you're reacting to that at that moment. And
Yeah.
by the storyteller giving me the context of where that character has been and maybe even showing a snapshot of that scene makes me understand their mindset in the present of that movie at that moment, and it's better.
Obi-Wan does it when they flash between the way that Vader's coming down to the planet, like the way that he's interacting with them, and they flash back to him being taught.
Yes.
Like that
Yes.
flashback is cool. Like
And
this
looks
is
really,
why.
Hayden Christensen looked really old in that scene, though.
But it was a really neat way of doing it, and I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that those are the things that the execs cut. They're like, we don't need this back and
Yeah.
forth. We just need to get right to the point, right? So the back and forth is a different way to exchange it, but this is more in time with our budget and our needs.
Is that
and our
because it was
constraints.
the casual person going to a movie as opposed to now we have movie fans?
I think there's always been movie fans. I think it's been proven that this formula doesn't always work anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been proven over the last 50 years that continually keeps getting broken. And I think now, too, it's so much easier to make a movie on your own. You don't actually need a big studio to make a high-quality movie.
yeah.
That democratization of this industry has maybe opened it up to not fitting into the one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
What about movies that the director's cut is like an alternate ending?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I'm like, what do we like about our director's cuts? Do we like alternate ending? Do we like extended story? Do we like cut scenes that close loops?
The one I got when we were reviewing for this is I Am Legend,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The alternate ending completely changes.
So what is the alternate ending? I don't know.
So do you know in the regular one, he
Yeah.
actually blows up the lab with all of the
Yes.
creatures in it, whatever they end up being. Well, the alternate ending is he actually gives the female back to her partner, who's like the male leader, and they leave. And it's actually this, like, you discover he was the monster, not them,
Because he was doing science on.
because he was taking them for science and experimenting on them.
And they were coming after him because he had kidnapped his wife.
Yeah.
And they thought that they weren't.
So you're
Tell me how much
intelligent?
that changes the whole entire fucking movie.
That changes everything because it gives them purpose to show up outside of his home. It gives them purpose to track
It
him.
humanizes the zombies, which you thought they were mindless.
And that's 10 minutes maybe.
Exactly.
See, and those are the things is that what do you do in your director's cut? Do you change the film? Do you give the film more life? Do you give a different perspective? Like, you can really fuck it if you think the director's cut with this.
That director's cut, that alternate ending is better, and that should have been the theatrical release.
100% agree.
Do we like the
It also
length?
would have opened it up to a better sequel opportunity.
But maybe it speaks to humanity too much, and they just wanted
They
the
don't
big
like that.
explosive ending.
They
Yeah,
don't like that. Yeah.
The Kingdom of Heaven went from 144 to 194 for the director's cut. That's the
Ooh.
time.
Yeah,
And
but
I've-
Kingdom of Heaven's director's cut is better.
It is.
The fight scenes are longer.
Yep.
They're more epic. The battles.
The-
It adds all that
The
backstory.
infanticide she tries to pull on her son
Totally.
comes into play a lot more.
I know. I understand why that was probably cut for a theatrical release, especially in
Yeah.
the United States.
Yeah.
But if it was a European release only, the whole fucking thing would have been there.
So does like the 47-hour director's cut of Lord of the Rings make it better? or-
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I need to see all of the breakfasts.
but with
The
with-
journey to Mordor is fucking long, Mark.
Well, and that's the question: is that does making the walk longer make the journey harder, or just a longer movie?
does the audience have to experience
Yeah.
the painful agony of the length of it?
I mean, the good thing about that is that it's an epic, massive
Yes.
novel.
Yeah.
They're huge books.
And it's a culmination of things too.
Totally.
So
I do appreciate the fact that they had a theatrical release because they needed to make sure that it would do well in the theater. And if they released the fucking extended version, it would have been a bomb. People would have like, fuck that movie, it's way too long.
You know what I want to see? I want to see like the 2 hour and 15-minute version of the entire Lord of the Rings. Like the battles are just like, boom, battle happened. And
Ching,
then
ching,
go on to
ching,
the
ching,
next
ching, ching,
part. Fucking 5 armies, boom, we're done.
it's just a wide shot to a close up to a back out to a different battle.
Exactly,
Wide shot
that's
to a
it.
close up back out to a different
Yeah.
battle.
Can I ask you a question? Do you like that The Hobbit was turned into 3 movies?
No.
No.
I
no.
don't actually.
It needs to be shorter.
It
Yes.
should have been 2 tops.
But
It would have been really good as 2.
that was making money. That was a business decision. Let's spread this. Like when they did that with Stranger Things, right? They're giving you a 2-part season 4.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, I misunderstood you.
No, Netflix is doing. No, what Netflix is doing is they're releasing. If the whole season's say 10 episodes, they're releasing half of it and then half of it later, just
Yeah.
like they did with Ozarks. So they're doing this for a couple of reasons. Number one is they don't want to go to a weekly serial like Prime is, where they release a show. They still want to release a bunch of stuff so people can binge it.
Okay.
But what they're doing is they're binging it and then holding it back so people are excited. and will keep their Netflix subscriptions for longer. That's, I think, why they're doing this.
I was just looking.
Instead of like, hey, they released a new Ozarks. I'm going to get Netflix this weekend.
Yeah.
And then
And
cancel
there's literally people that do that.
There, see, business decisions,
Yeah.
right?
But that's a smart business decision. Like, you want people to keep the subscription, right?
Well, and here's what's interesting. So the final cut of Ridley Scott for Blade Runner, theatrical was 117, director's was 116, final cut became 117. So this is not about extending or changing.
It's nuance.
It's nuance and taking a film or taking a scene that was longer and removing other shit. So I imagine the big.
Well, it's kind of like, have you seen the alternate ending for T2, for Terminator 2?
No.
Right? So the alternate ending is it shows her older on a playground, and she's, John is a senator. I don't know. It's just it's different. It's a little bit cleaner cut, but they decided to go with the ominous, just black ending because it leaves you wanting more, right?
Should there be a streaming channel on somebody's network for everything that they make that has the director's cut
I absolutely
off in a
think
corner?
So. I
that'd be
think
cool.
I don't see why Disney doesn't do that.
Like you've hired a guy to do a guy or girl to do a thing, and
Can I see the original version of A New Hope, please?
right? Like
With
there
just
is
all the explosions improved?
with fandom the way it is now and the way technology
And I
has
want to talk about
changed,
that in a bit, too.
which access to everything is just nuts. I think I know what you're going to say, but we'll get to it. There is room for it because now we have choice, right? Where the only avenue before was let's take it to the theater and hope people will want to come back to the theater a fourth time to see this because we did the 20th anniversary, now we're doing the 30th anniversary, now we're going to do the director's cut for the 40th, or just dump it on Disney, on Prime, on Netflix because they all have them, and just dump it and be like, at your leisure. Give it a shot when you feel like it. It's not a have to. We're not putting it front and center. We're not saying it's part of the top 10. It's just put it out there because the scope of how we consume has changed. There's room. There's terabytes.
Well, you'd also want to do theatrical release, then you do like the video release of the theatrical release / streaming.
Yeah.
Then if you're smart, you space it, and 6 months later or whatever down the line, then you do release of a director's cut or an alternate ending or something then to bring people back to the franchise again.
If you're worried about time and attention span, then you give them the edited for attention span. But the fandom that is created now demands it, which is how a lot of these director's cuts are happening. Is that what you were thinking about, Rob?
Well, I want to talk about something else, but you guys are bringing up a good point. The other thing I think they need to add is, the reason that I like buying movies is I like sometimes watching the special features. Or one thing I love to do is I actually like to watch a movie with the director or actor's commentary on it.
That's cool.
And what I think Disney...
This is what I was trying to do.
This is what Disney Plus should do.
That's great.
Like, if your subscription is $9.99 a month, why don't you make a premium service for an extra $3 a month? I have access to overlaid commentary audio. I have access to special features and alternative endings for all of these different movies. Because right now, the reason they don't put that on streaming is because they want an incentive for people to buy movies. Yeah. The reality is, people who are going to buy movies are going to buy movies regardless if the special features are there or not. That's just extra nice to have shit.
Yeah.
They're just people that want physical media. They want the absolute best quality, blah, 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 blah. However, I would argue that sometimes when you get a disc, there might actually be a flaw or a mistake on it. And that can actually be adjusted in real time on a streaming service.
Yes.
So if there's a small glitch with an Atmos track, well, if that was on the original version of the Blu-ray that got printed, guess what? That's there for fucking ever. Whereas they can change that later in a streaming service. So I would challenge some of these streaming services if they're looking for extra add-ons and stuff like that, because there's plenty of people that are going to be like, nah, I don't need that extra service.
The fandom package.
The fandom package or whatever it is. And you can then,
I like
because they've
that.
got all that sitting in the digital fucking realm, give me fucking access to that. Well, it's going to eat up more bit rate and bandwidth and all that, and you need to justify money, then charge me fucking more. I will do it. And then what you do is, or maybe even put it there, but it's kind of like blacked out a bit or faded out, and then someone goes, hey, why is this faded out? And then they click on it and goes, would you like to upgrade your subscription to this for X amount a month? And people are like, fuck yeah, click.
Yeah.
And you have access to all that again.
You put it behind a paywall.
just like it does with Prime. Sometimes I'm searching for a movie and it goes, if you add MGM for an extra $2 a month, I'm like, fuck yeah.
That's how I had MGM for a year.
Like I have all
Paramount,
of these
Paramount Plus for me.
Right?
Yeah,
you always have the one.
I have all these add-ons, and then eventually, sometimes I cancel them, but I might have that for a year, like you said, and I actually thoroughly enjoy it. I watch a bunch of extra shit.
I'm telling you, I don't want to have to jump to YouTube to get all the commentary shit that someone's uploaded. And YouTube's algorithm model is eyes all the time. If that's not what a streaming service is designed for, is your streaming service only over the competitors, then yes. Okay, I'm done watching all the main stuff. Now I can get the director's version. Now I can get the theatrical director's version. Now I can get the behind-the-scenes shit.
I actually think they're missing.
I'm not leaving your platform.
Yeah. No.
I'm not leaving.
I'm
because,
spending more time on your platform.
Yeah. And then I'm
getting
telling other
deeper.
people about it.
The other thing you're doing, too, is you're actually giving them more information for their algorithm.
To feed back
to know further how to fucking market and make better shit that people watch.
Netflix.
It doesn't even have to be a bunch. Like if you hear, hey, they're releasing the director's cut of No Way Home, Spider-Man. There's 6 minutes of additional footage. I'm still watching it. I'm watching the whole movie intently, trying to figure out where the 6 minutes have been added.
I am doing the same thing. I don't go to where they tell me the director's cuts added it. I'm like, no. How'd the sausage get made here? Right? Where did the sausage taste a little different? Where did the sausage hit the back of my throat? No, that's a different sausage. The point is like where is it new? Where is it old? Where is it borrowed? And where is it blue?
Totally.
Kind of thing. And no, I
And that's what fans want.
Yes.
So stop. Give us what we fucking want.
Yes.
And charge me money. Take my money.
Preach it.
It's that meme with Fry from fucking Futurama. I know you haven't seen it, but you have. Take my money. Take my money.
Such a backhanded compliment. I know you haven't seen it, but that's okay. I love it. Okay, cool.
Along with the theory of things that Mike hasn't seen, let's go to great television moments.
No, can I say one thing about the directors before we
can.
move
Yeah.
on? And I'd like each one of us to say what our favorite director's cut is.
Yes.
Sometimes a director's cut or a new version of something fucking sucks dicks. And you know what I'm going to talk about?
What?
The original trilogy from Star Wars. I have so many problems with some of the add-on stuff, and I want to be able to watch.
Are you talking
the old THX version?
Okay, you want the original? Is that what you want? Or are you upset about the VFX fixed one?
I'm upset about that one.
Yeah, that one bothers me a lot.
If I have to watch fucking Han Solo step on Jabba the Hutt's tail one more fucking time.
That doesn't look like nobody was doing anything.
Like,
it's
why
so
did you
bad.
fucking add that? He's a fucking gangster. First off, he looks too small. Number two, like suddenly he like doubled in size from fucking A New Hope to Return of the Jedi.
And I'm sorry,
he's also a fucking gangster. Like you took a character that was comical in a certain way, but made it cartoony and slapstick. Fuck you, George Lucas. Fuck you. And the thing is, they don't owe George Lucas anything. He took $4.6 billion or whatever the fuck he got, and guess what? You have no say in anything anymore. All that goes up there, it says Lucasfilm. Fuck you. Change it. Or give me another version.
Sure.
Unless there's something in a contract that says that Disney's not allowed to show the original cut, I just don't understand.
You know what? He had it in all of his merchandising that as soon as KFC was done, it goes back to Lucas Ranch.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you don't get to keep the cups.
Yeah.
All the merchandise is in his facility at, not Lucas Ranch, whatever fucking ranch it is, Skywalker Ranch. So he's a weird guy when it comes to rights and media.
No, he's smart.
Well, he's smart,
he's
but like
super
he wants
smart.
Everything back. So
he has complete control, and I respect that.
If he wants to dump a product online that was part of a collection from some fast food joint, it's all him. Like if he wants to flood the market, he's got all the stock.
Isn't this harkens back to remember when we were talking about the Galaxy's Edge experience or whatever, where you go stay in the hotel, and how you were saying it looked so cheap and people were bitching about it? Well, the original trilogy was fucking practical effects, kind of cheese, kind of shitty. That was our Star Wars. So things shouldn't be.
You opened my mind to
shouldn't
an
be
idea.
so polished.
Yeah.
Like they didn't need to go back and fucking polish shit up and make explosions bigger.
The stuff they did polish though that was good was when the Death Star blows up and they added that extra ring to it. I actually like that.
Yes.
When they show a zoom in of the X-wings approaching in and I get to see it.
The experience.
I'm okay with that kind of stuff. I don't like the
extra Cantina band members.
The Cantina band member scene and the fucking Jabba the Hutt. Those two things need to be cut out. Everything else I'm okay with.
It's this beautiful polished,
and I will stick to that and
Like,
stay
I
strong
don't,
on that.
I don't want them to go back and redo the opening to Flash Gordon when that ship's coming in with the fucking firecracker out the back.
No.
Don't make it look good.
No.
The reason I like it is because it's cheesy.
The most erotic fucking superhero movie ever.
Right? Like,
That's Flesh Gordon.
like the
You're right, wrong one.
lightsabers were actually mostly practical originally.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I know. I know. My lightsaber,
well, they were drawing on cells.
like for what I have,
But they had an actual, like, there was a motor rotating, highly reflective material. Like, it was a thing.
yeah, it wasn't.
Like, do they even have things now?
Well, you know how they made the original thing? They actually took it's something from like a flash cam from like an old camera, and that's what the lightsaber was built on.
Star Wars happened a long time ago.
Was that in the 70s?
No, but like the actual events happened a long time ago
In
a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
oh, shit.
Anyway, the whole point I'm trying to get at is, like, director's cut aren't always better. Most of the time, they typically are improvements. But yeah.
Okay, Mark, what's your favorite?
You know what? Just because it's new and the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League was so dramatically better.
Yes.
Than,
It's a different movie.
Yeah.
It's a whole different
I mean, I just
yeah.
that really that's. I gotta go with
well,
that.
I think
I don't
yours-
even think it counts. It's a totally different
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, the director's cut.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It counts,
100%.
but it's just, yeah.
They just have to call it that, but it is a totally different movie. What I mentioned, Dances with Wolves, is mine. It was the first one I experienced. It was one of the movies I watched a fuck ton as a kid, and just Kevin Costner makes a Western, right? Directorial debut. There's a lot of things there that, for a guy who's like just in the chair for the first few times, that, I mean, we can talk all we want about The Postman. It apparently didn't stick, but like, that's a very
The
epic
Postman
journey.
sucks.
I know. And
I hate that movie.
I imagine yours is
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner.
I wouldn't say it's Blade Runner. I would say my favorite extended cut or director's cut. For me, it's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and all of them got an extra 30. I was looking at the list before they went from like 178 to like 209 or something, right? So it wasn't.
I don't watch regular theatrical version of Lord of the Rings. I don't think I've seen the regular
I'm
theatrical
too good
version.
for that, he says.
I honestly, I don't think I've seen it in over a decade.
Let's move.
Is there something wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong. You're just.
I like the ones when I actually see Frodo go to the washroom and wash his hands.
They refer to it as make water.
They give me a sense of what he's feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
Can I say one last thing about the director's
yes.
cut thing?
This
Sometimes
is the extended version of this.
Yeah,
fucking
this is
podcast.
our
Director's
director's
cut
cut
of
of
the
our podcast. But sometimes a movie is so perfect that a director's cut would maybe be bad.
I agree. I think it's.
I don't want to
only-
see a director's cut of Back to the Future.
Well, and that's the
If
conversation.
it ain't broke,
yeah.
Don't fix it.
That's the conversation you have to have is, are we tarnishing the original feeling of the first film, or are we enhancing it by showing
I also
what
really want to
didn't-
see the Event Horizon director's cut. Apparently,
Oh
it's supposed
my-
to be amazing.
That would be so. I want to see what they couldn't get away with, like the more horrific
the
scenes.
the
that
final scene he made was so insane. Like, apparently the executives were like, "We can't show this.
No,
it'll be NC-17."
It'd be snuff, I would imagine.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
So next segment here, ladies and gentlemen, most shocking moments in television history. Now that is defined as something shocking that was real on television, something that took place in a scripted series that, like, universally, there's these big moments that kind of, it's like it's an ebb and flow, right? All of a
This is
sudden,
fantasy only, not reality.
We
no,
could
reality too.
reality too. I
Okay.
mean, there's been newscasts that there's I can't remember
If anyone says the Will Smith slap, I'll just slap you.
But it kind of has to be talked about because it's in a place too specifically that you would never think would actually happen, which is live television.
I mean,
But
it was shocking, but let's be honest. In the grand scheme of
Oh,
things, it's not really that
worse
shocking.
things are happening.
I'm going to suggest here, Mike, that we keep each one a little bit shorter so we can hit a few more moments.
I believe you're very right.
Why don't we do this?
Okay.
All right.
So this is the studio version of the
This
show
is the
now.
studio version.
Okay.
Because I'd rather hear some really cool, like
Yeah,
more
yeah,
of
yeah,
them
yeah,
rather
yeah.
than dig deep into
Yeah, sure.
one or two.
We dug deep. We can come back to the
Mike, what's which one comes to you?
It's not Peggy's boat. Did anybody else watch Lost?
No, it wasn't.
I
read-
love Lost.
Okay.
Lost had some really good moments.
So there are a lot of things that took place in that show that were based in alternate realities, and you got so invested in it that you couldn't tell anymore what reality they were experiencing versus the reality that they'd come from, because things on the island started to change in time. One of the big ones was Peggy and what's his name, the Scot? I'll see you another life, brother. Her boyfriend.
Not important.
Anyways, but the scene is Charlie knows that a group of people have come to the island, and he's figured out through a radio broadcast. And how it plays out is so fucking simple. He sacrifices himself for the greater good of everybody on the island, and then like frantically writes something on his hand. And you have no idea what it is. Like, nothing that you're about to see has been alluded in any way, shape, or form. You think that these people that have come to the island are good people, and they're fucking with the existing inhabitants of the island before anybody shows up. So it's kind of like this triangle of like who's supposed to belong here. And Charlie does this thing, and he swims across, and everybody's trying to pull open this door to get him out of this hatch in this underwater fucking facility. And he just slams his hand up against the window, and it says, "Not Peggy's boat." And that changes the entire tone of the fucking show, to the point where you go, you don't know what end is up. And that's when the show, a lot of people can say, went off the rails and did a lot of shit that
Jumped the shark,
so to speak. It did a couple crazy things. Couple meaning there's more fingers than I would need to be able to count. But that right there was just where
that was right before the writer's strike.
It was right before the writer's strike, which is a lot of reasons why I have a problem with how that show ended up, because it got caught in between creativity.
We're not talking
and
about
commerce.
Lost, Mike. We're not talking about Lost.
We're
talking about moments.
Anyways,
Let's not go
we're
too
gonna
deep.
get lost.
There's
Just the tip.
It's Charlie. It's
Just
Charlie
the tip.
and not Peggy's
All right,
boat.
so I'm going to take my first one back to a historical moment in TV cinema that pretty much everybody knew, and it's been memed and homaged since, is Who Shot JR? Big season cliffhanger, maybe the most talked about TV cliffhanger
Of all time.
of all time, probably. I mean, we wouldn't have Who Shot Mr. Burns without Who Shot JR.
It's very much so. What show was that done on?
That's the one with yellow cartoons.
The yellow.
I've heard about this show.
Yeah.
It's
So,
called Samson's.
I mean, really, that sort of is probably the best example of the cliffhanger big moment that everybody talked about.
Yeah, and doing it at a cliffhanger point was a piss off, right? Because I've heard that whenever
you had to wait 4 months.
you had to wait a fucking summer.
That was in May. You had to wait till
People
like,
were
late
angry.
September.
Yeah, but I think, were they more angry? Like my grandmother was a big fan. My mom was a big fan. Were you forced to watch this with anybody in your home?
I don't even know how it played out. I just remember the idea. I didn't even watch the fucking thing.
So the way it
Dallas
played
was
out,
on late.
Dallas was
It just was a moment that was so, like, TV fucking with us. That's what it hit to me. It was the first time that when the TV ended, there was newspapers and magazines, and people were talking about what had happened on TV. We didn't talk about TV that much.
No.
And
No,
I think
it
that was
didn't.
one of the first times I remember TV being in the zeitgeist without the show being on.
What ended up happening, to give you an idea of a dual shocking moment, was it was revealed that JR being shot never happened. When the season finale happened for the show, it was all a dream, as one notorious B.I.G. once said. So Bobby wakes up, has a shower, and he's in the shower with his wife, who my mother was her fashion icon, funny enough. And they all wake up, and it's a happily ever after moment. So you got this giant fucking Who Killed JR 4-month wait to a season finale of it was all a dream and it never happened. So the investment that they pulled from the audience fell flat on its fucking face when it became all
Pissed
a dream.
a lot of people off.
Well, and that's what happened with Lost too. I know we're not talking about Lost anymore, but it was all one of those things where it was like, well, they've been dead the entire time, and you know, eggs on your face.
What?
So which
Sorry,
ones come to
spoilers.
your mind, Rob?
Yeah. Was it from your youth, or was it from something new? Because the list we pulled from was too much new shit. And I know you were saying before pre-show that like that's a classic, the JR moment.
Yeah, I mean, the JR moment is for sure. But again, I don't even remember watching it. I just remember it
Hearing it, yeah,
happening
yeah.
it, right? I mean, I guess that would have been what, 85?
Oh yeah.
84?
Yeah, probably.
mid to late 80s.
Like, I was only like 5, right? So, you know, if it wasn't, you know, Transformers or He-Man, I wasn't really fucking giving a shit. For me, it would probably be that Negan scene in Walking Dead, and when at the very end he cracks one person and you don't know,
yes.
and you had to wait the fucking summer to find out, and I think I'll be honest, I think that's the last time that we're gonna have that shared moment on television where everyone's kind of watching stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Because streaming has completely fractured that forever.
Well, that you're very right about that. The shared moment versus I haven't seen that yet. And if you didn't tune in, you didn't have PVR, you didn't have a way to JR. You had to tape on VHS.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get a copy
at
of
that
it.
time, Walking Dead, everybody was watching.
That's before it really.
You gather on mass at your friend's house. You'd have watch parties, right? It was.
Yeah.
You want to spin off of since we're going rapid fire? Want to spin off of that? Everybody watching it? The fucking Red Wedding.
Yeah, there's another good one.
Right? Talk about a bunch of people watching it,
learning that major characters can be killed, and it's totally fine to the story.
See, it's
that's huge.
That's big.
Ned Stark getting his fucking head chopped off,
even as big,
changed the way we watch TV.
Oh, you're going to eliminate somebody who I've spent 10 episodes with. 10
Had that
hours.
been done before?
No.
Not as impactful for me because I'd read the book 20 years earlier. And I'm being honest, but when I did read that, I felt the same way because you're reading that book just like everyone that was watching that season. I remember watching with my girlfriend and my roommate at the time, and just being like, because I'm not gonna spoil anything for them, right?
Oh, the Winds of Castamere
but I'm
playing.
knowing
What
the
does
whole
that
time.
mean?
But when I read that book, I probably had to reread that page 10 times because I was in such disbelief. Because you're like. When I read the first one, there was a couple more books at the time.
Are you talking about Ned Stark or the Red Wedding?
Ned Stark, right? And I was like, sweet, this character's fucking awesome. He's gonna be so good throughout the whole series. And you're like, motherfucker.
And what it did for
the Red Wedding is pretty crazy in the book too. But the difference is in the Game of Thrones book, each one of the chapters is the chapters don't have names. It just says Cersei's. Jamie.
Oh, so
Arya,
it's their story.
Snow. So you know that chapter's in their perspective.
Okay.
You never get Rob Snow. You never get Rob Stark. He's not. He's never ever in his perspective.
Okay.
So you kind of know from the beginning he gonna fucking die.
He doesn't get a perspective
because he's not.
Yeah.
He's so in the series he's actually conveyed as a bigger character than he actually is in the book.
You know what? All of these seem to revolve around death, so I'll keep the story going here.
That changed I'm just going to say that to me changed the way not only that I watched that show, but that I watch other shows. Because it's the first time, like you said, a character that everybody thought, well, this is a fucking show about this dude.
Nope.
And then it's not.
Nope.
So for the rest of the show, you couldn't fall too in love with a character because they might get fucking offed.
And that's why
I've
Sean Bean
never
did it.
felt like that before.
Yeah.
Ever.
You were playing...
It's an emotional attack on your whole
100%.
I remember, speaking of deaths, Opie.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, when he dies in the jail.
Right, like the murder of innocent characters is one thing, but the murder of somebody's best friend, that's what that scene is. You're watching. It's through Jax's perception, and
he's watching it too.
And everybody's
right.
sharing this death, but it's this sacrificial death that I've never seen in a story before that hit me that hard. Like it, and you were. I was in tears. I was like, "That's Opie." Like it's brotherhood. It transcends the bullshit, and they're the two guys who are still trying to anchor the club in some sort of like decency, while everybody around them is like, "No, fucking run drugs and run guns and prostitution and pornography." Right? Like it really. That and how about Gemma's fucking rape by Henry Rollins? Like that too, right? Like the invincibility of the Teller clan was shattered in those two episodes, and that goes to show you how infallible they were.
I finally watched the last 2 episodes like a month ago.
Oh, you completed it.
I hadn't watched the last 2 episodes. I fucking cried at the very end.
And he raises his hands off into the sunset.
So why not take it in another direction?
Yeah.
Reality TV,
What about?
something that changed reality TV for me. Survivor. in, is it Australia, where he falls in the fire?
Oh,
Yes.
that was
that was
season-
Africa.
No, it was Australia.
Was it Australia?
He was blowing in the fire, and he
passed out and fell in the fire.
Fell, and he had to be taken out.
That I don't remember the guy's name, but that
Older
scene
guy, 50s.
made me think, like, before that you're like, oh, they're really safe, like nothing bad's really gonna happen to them, and they're all just putting it on, and then this dude fucking falls in the fire, torches his hands, and he's gone from the show. And it, to me, it instilled more jeopardy watching the show, thinking, well, bad shit can happen. So it kind of gave me that, like, it changed the way that I viewed in the way that Ned Stark dying, like, hey, like, bad shit can happen outside of just getting eliminated or getting voted off. Like, you could actually get fucking hurt and leave.
Well, yeah, and you want to talk reality television? How about the suicides that were spawned off of Fear Factor? Like, those kinds of things where
There were suicides?
Well, yeah.
I
there
didn't know
was
that.
I think there was 2 suicides that spawned off of Fear Factor, but it was put into the show where, like, when the show aired, they made mention of it at the end, so they acknowledged that a person from a reality show, something had happened to them after they left the show, which was really weird to kind of stomach, because you'd go on these shows to, like, there should be no death attached to the show is kind of what I'm getting at.
On the same was it Jenny Jones where the
Yes.
I have a crush?
Yes. I have a crush on the
and
wrong
the guy
person.
fucking murders the other guy?
Yeah. These kinds of things, they're not shocking.
Did you know they have this one, like, this person has a crush on you, and they surprise you on TV, and it's this guy coming on, like, oh, this person has a crush on you, and it's another guy that he knows, and the guy couldn't handle the fact that it was a guy that had a crush on him, and then after the show, they got into it, and the one guy fucking murdered the other guy.
Extreme homophobia or like paranoia or something, but these things happen, and then you find out how shocking they are after the fact, right? Like the real life aspect makes it more shocking because you were in the final moments on television right before this guy's like, fuck you, buddy, and loses his shit. But a lot of those Maury Povich things, I'm sure they never wanted to talk about stuff, but reality, I remember. And like,
you're not the father, and then fucking what happened after?
Boy, yeah, right? Like, let's catch up with these folks. But what about the first season of Survivor? We're winning naked.
Yeah.
Right? A guy walking around butt naked on television, they had to obviously blot it out. These are unexpected.
I didn't think that was that weird.
Well, it was weird because it was the first of its kind.
Yeah.
Knowing back now that was a great way to win Survivor and how Survivor's won now, oh man, if you could do naked, they would let you get away with it.
And the producers didn't go in and say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, they didn't interrupt
Like, they just
the show.
let it happen. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Which always says that's why it's a science experiment.
It also
you
gives
can't
you the
interrupt the science
It gives
experiment.
you the authenticity. Like, it turns up the authenticity a little bit for me.
Yeah, and when we know in a world of reality television now where you can't tell if it's a real event or staged, like the Will Smith smack, I mean, that's a live television. The boob. Let's talk about the boob for
The
a second.
nip slip.
The nip slip, right?
with
Like
Justin Timberlake.
Like
Janet Jackson.
or you can get a little political and you can talk about what Don Cherry said, right? And then having to be edited for 5-second delay so that they can cover what some of these things happen. Like reality television, semi-scripted. We're going to do this. We would like this to happen. Let whatever happens, but we're guiding you. Fictional, completely written, right? So George R.R. Martin's like, fuck you. You don't get Ned anymore. But what about live television, live sporting events, right? Tiananmen Square, things that the government doesn't want caught on television, things that naturally shouldn't be because they're not guarding for that. The nip slip's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Because like they couldn't catch it. They couldn't pixelate it.
Yeah, sure enough.
It got called out.
That's when the 5-second delay came in.
Yeah, but they called out the fact that it was all publicity.
How crazy is America? That was like the biggest fucking deal.
Right, like you're
Like,
that's how you feed a baby, guys.
North
like,
America, we need to like lighten the fuck up with that stuff.
Yeah,
Like, it's a boob.
well, it gets into the 7 words you can't say on television. Ashley Simpson getting caught lip syncing on SNL.
Oh, that was funny.
Right? Or like Sinead O'Connor on SNL. Like SNL's always had the big ones.
When she ripped up the picture of the Pope.
Right?
And
was
how much of an
crazy.
impact that has later on, because still to me now, every time I see an act performing on SNL, I look to see if they're performing.
Or you're like, I hope they don't fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? I hope they don't go AWOL.
Are they fucking Milli Vanilli?
Why was she lip syncing? Wasn't it?
She was sick.
She was super sick, right?
She's sick, but the world doesn't have a it's okay button, right?
Yeah.
Like we have a you're fucking faker or boo, we want our blood and we want our bread, right? Like that's give them circus and give them
I feel
bread.
like if you're going to be sick on SNL, though, what they should do is they should basically say they should always have a backup band, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like if she was having tea the afternoon of the show and didn't have her voice, like who's in town that you can just be like, whatever. But I mean, that's probably of the era too, where Simpsons team was like, no, we need to pump her. Like we need this.
Well, she was on there for a promotional show,
yeah.
right?
And somebody made the call at the last minute to be like, throw the audio track on.
Or maybe she lost her voice the day of.
Yeah. But, and you know what? Like it's more forgiving to be like, and these are the things that people don't do in live time. Like, yeah, okay. Chris Rock got hit. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It was a stupid fucking overreaction if it's anything. But how he handled himself,
Yeah.
could we all say that that's how we would handle ourselves? I can't say that that would be my, like, okay.
Well, that's what happens
Reset,
when it's planned.
move on.
That's still up for debate whether it was planned or
it wasn't?
I think we have an Illuminati over here.
Yeah. I'll be remiss if I don't pass on Chrissy's thought when
Please,
she said
please.
TV moments. Hers was when Drake gets gunned down by a school shooter on Degrassi.
Yes. Yeah, and then gets put in a wheelchair, right?
That's right.
That's right.
But school shooter on TV.
Yeah, that's on the nose. Because suicide was the big hot topic in the first Degrassi. Our Degrassi was when Snake finds the guy who shot himself with the gun.
Yeah.
But now this is someone else being shot and touching on. Yeah. Most shocking where you're taking something from real life and putting it on the screen.
Do you
Right,
remember
like that's
Zit
local
Remedy?
to us, but Degrassi had a bunch of those moments, right? Like Spike getting AIDS or
Yes.
like
Right. And who was gay? Somebody was gay too.
Spike got pregnant, was it?
Spike got pregnant, had the egg. That was our thing. Where
Oh
who got
yes,
her
but
pregnant?
didn't somebody get an STD too? Or maybe I'm remembering this wrong. But yeah, like teen pregnancy, people getting fucking shot, people.
When Wheels runs away from home, and then the guy with the vacuum cleaner in the back of his car picks him up and takes him down the side road and tries to touch him, and he
That's
runs
right. Like it addressed a lot of crazy fucking issues. on
The
TV.
7 words you can't say on television stand-up bit with George Carlin for the first time, where the cops showed up and arrested him because he said all 7 fucking words: shit, piss, fuck, cuck, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits for a turd, and twat for extra. That's the line, and he used them all in one of the best stand-up bits to dissect human language and be like, these are not words that. There are other words that we should hate more than we should hate these words.
like moist.
Yeah, or like chub, like or poop. Poop sounds like what poop does. That's why I don't like poop. But
I love the word poop. I think it's hilarious. My daughter
What's
thinks
the-
it's so funny.
What's the name of that? Like a word that sounds.
yeah,
like,
there's a term for it.
Onomatopoeia?
Is it an onomatopoeia? Yeah.
Onomatopoeia.
Like vroom,
Bang.
So okay, so we've like
snap, crack.
You want to talk news? 9/11, right?
9/11 was pretty crazy.
God, that was a crazy moment. Yeah.
Right, but that's live television.
Watching it live. The
Berlin
second-
Wall. coming
Berlin
down.
Wall coming down. The
Tiananmen Square is a big one.
Tiananmen Square, the
Yeah.
terror shooting at the German Olympics, right?
Munich.
Munich.
little bit before our time, I think.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Televised live and announced live that all of them were dead. Like very shocking moments. Like you can get into the JFK shooting, and we can go deep if you want in that. But I mean, is it more shocking when it's real, or is it more shocking when it's in your favorite fucking story that you're invested in? Like I feel I became friends with Opie more than just hear me out here, more than how 9/11 affected me, because 9/11 affected me in a panic, where Opie affected me as a loss, right? Both shocking moments, but I was panicked.
Do you remember
during
where you
9/11.
were when you saw Opie die?
No, but I do
I
remember
guarantee
where
you fucking remember 9/11, where you were when you saw the 9/11 shit.
which because I panicked, because I was afraid, because I was unsure. Right, those are imprinted. Like I'm blueprinted.
I'll tell you
with
this:
those
I sure as
emotions.
hell when I saw the second plane crash into the building live, I sure as heck didn't think the buildings were going to collapse.
No.
Neither did I. Neither
So,
did I.
But we didn't know there was going to.
I'm writing a
like,
conspiracy theory
fixed
episode,
demolition,
guys.
Like, ready to
You
go.
bring up something interesting. The where were you when's? Like
Yeah.
that's got to be some of the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that one just happened to be televised, the second plane, but I mean, those are some life changing moments. That's one of the only two I think I remember from my My entire life.
9/11's really the only one for
Like
me.
for me, it wasn't but the Space Shuttle Challenger, right?
Sure,
Blew up on-
blowing up. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Was it the Challenger or the
Discovery.
Discovery?
Like the second one, because the first one was broadcast, but not. We didn't have the 24-hour news then.
Yeah.
But when Discovery blew up, I remember I was working at Future Shop, and somebody goes, "Dude, this just happened," and we turned the TVs to it, and we're like, "Whoa!"
The TV
No, I
wall?
remember the
Like the TV?
first one more, but just because like it was the most first traumatic thing I think I've ever heard that I knew what was happening.
Yeah, I know where I was for Red Wedding because that's more recent, and that was more of when I gave a fuck about characters and a story and all that shit. But
Now you don't.
no, I do. But what I'm saying is I know damn certain where I was for 9/11, O.J. Simpson, and
Oh yeah, the
wow.
O.J.
I
Simpson
remember
with the
O.J.
Bronco.
Simpson, too.
Yeah.
the Bronco.
That's
yeah.
a thing that happened on live TV.
Yeah.
right.
right. And but I'm
them
just
driving and like all the cop cars and the whole freeway was open. It's
and
like
him. I want to fucking shoot myself.
How about the
right? Like,
L.A. riots?
I
Oh,
was
God.
just born,
Yeah.
so I was young. I was
No,
6.
that was-
I was 6, 7, 88.
Yeah, I guess so. When was Rodney King? 91, 92?
Yeah, 'cause
I just remember them showing on the news
James Bond or James
when
Bond.
they pulled that trucker out of the
That's
car.
the one I remember.
And the guy
Yeah.
picked up a rock and threw it at his head.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, wow.
I watched
Reginald Denny was the name of the guy they pulled out of the truck. I think.
That was the name of the truck
Yeah.
driver, and he was just like the wrong place at the
wrong place,
time.
wrong time,
Yeah,
wrong color.
But these are the news then and the news now. I mean,
Korean store owners sitting on top of their houses with fucking like AR-15s or whatever the gun.
Well,
at
you
want to
take that one step
protecting their
further,
buildings?
like BLM protests, and that was televised 24/7.
Yeah.
The occupation in
Portland.
and
Yeah.
you know?
like
Have we become desensitized a bit? Because how much did we get fed through that? But we remember.
I think the difference is they don't stop live broadcasts on TV for this stuff. And the other thing is most people aren't watching live broadcasts on TV anymore.
That's true.
So I think that's part of it. You're watching it through a social media feed, or you're watching it.
Are you getting it clipped out to you?
Or you decide to tune in for 2 seconds, but you're going to a specific media outlet. Whereas in the past, it would have been like we delay the show to bring you this live broadcast.
Yeah, how many times has that happened in the history of TV? I wonder. Like
Lots.
well,
interrupting something major.
Yeah. Like for a presidential speech or some big news thing happen.
Those are
Challenger blowing up probably.
Yeah, those I remember because the Osama bin Laden one was like that, where all of a sudden out of nowhere, I was living in the Roslyn at the time, and like out of nowhere, you just hear, "Ladies and gentlemen," from the other room, and you're like, "Oh shit, that's Barack," in the middle of it's like 7:30 or some stupid time where the president will never be speaking.
They didn't actually kill him.
Different podcast. But like
Most wanted man in the world, you killed him, and you know what? Let's just dump his body in the ocean.
I do love that aspect.
That's
We
very
don't.
suspect.
We
Yeah.
don't have the means of literally within 12 hours of transporting him back to America, so everyone can actually see the body.
The episode that I want to do is conspiracy theories in the movies they're attached to.
Oh fuck!
Documentary or feature, right? Like, did the movie make you think more about the conspiracy? Did you go into the conspiracy deep? We're gonna do that. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about National Treasure.
Oh, we're gonna talk
Fucking
about
love that.
We're
Oh,
gonna
I
talk
love
about
conspiracy theories.
we're gonna talk about everything, guys. But yeah, I think news wins just for the fact that that's 1 degree of separation, right?
Yeah.
As far away
Truth
as it
is
is.
stranger than fiction.
Yeah, but I mean, now
We
got
take you live to so and so on,
We
on
take-
scene at a.
we take you live to The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, oh no, Roe versus Wade being rescinded, right? Like that's the fucking shit that is truth is stranger than fiction, but now
Yeah.
fiction is becoming truth. And because it's on the boob tube, is it easier to swallow 12 years later because it was portrayed in a series like gang violence, right? Like all the things that happen on TV shows to your desensitized comment. Shocking things don't happen in movies because it takes forever to make a movie, but shocking things can go right to the TV the minute they start.
And are we going to be in for way less than those? Like, we're not going to have the TV moments because, like you said, nobody's sitting there watching TV.
Yeah.
We have this happened, holy shit, did you see Twitter? But it's very rare that people are, like, nobody's watching network TV that gets interrupted for a
Stop
major
what you're
event.
doing, go to CTV
Right.
and
Like,
yeah.
it used to be the only way to disseminate things to the public. I mean, you want to go to shocking events that change the way we consume things? Go to War of the Worlds with radio before there was TV.
Oh, you're talking to some
and people actually
Right?
call in.
talking some Orson Welles now, are ya? Yeah.
Like, even before TV, that
Tell
fucking
'em,
changed things.
listener,
right?
for you, if you don't know the story. Mark, what is it?
Just very quick, back when people crowded around the radio to listen to programs
nights.
instead of watching TV programs, and he interrupted the program with a fake broadcast that aliens were attacking the world. And people fucking believed it. People
stopped in their
like
tracks.
mass panic because they believed shit that they heard and saw. Like, it was back in the day before we questioned things.
Well, I think didn't it sound so realistic?
It sounded so real, but
that-
people didn't have much to play off of, right?
Or people
they had no
jumped into
comparison
the
stick.
Yeah.
Well, also some people didn't listen to the broadcast from the beginning. So if they listened to it from the beginning, they would have
Exactly.
known it was a story.
I feel that if I tuned in halfway through War of the Worlds and heard him speaking about an alien invasion, I don't think I would be tuning into a missed broadcast. I think I'd be tuning into a radio program. But I'm also not of the 30s.
Yes.
So I have a lot more going for me than someone who can get information.
It was a different time.
Yes.
You believed the things you saw.
Is that
you
Jules,
believed
Jules Verne book?
you believed
so,
in,
yeah.
in magazines when it told you that smoking was healthy.
Yeah. Because she was
3 out of 4 doctors recommend Marlboros.
a couple going for a walk down by the lake with two, Marlboros in their mouth, right?
I'm just going to give birth while smoking this cigarette.
It relaxes.
It is, and I don't know. At the
Cool
end of the
taste of Pall Mall.
At the end of the day, as shocking as shit is on live TV, I, as racy as it might be able to say, I've always been more shocked by my fictional shit. And maybe that's because I'm part of the generation of the oversaturation of media and the 24/7 news cycle, that I think maybe I'm more desensitized, because with a show, that's not happening all the time.
Yeah.
But what's happening all the time on the news, you become desensitized to. When Opie dies, that's not happening every day in the news for me. So it's shocking. It's more guttural, right? Because it's a character I've come to fall in love with, where I'm not in love with.
Whereas a sweatshop burning down in Bangladesh and 1,000 people die, you don't care.
No, I care, but I hear about it so often that I'm like, same record over and over and over again. The song loses its.
That speaks to the state of the world, obviously.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's my commentary for you. I'm just looking at the clock, and I'm thinking this is a perfect time to close this lovely episode of this week's show and save the extras for next week for the special features, so to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time listening to Mark, Rob, or myself, there is a world of episodes previous to this, some good, some bad. Go back channel, go backwards, go listen to the back catalog, so to speak. There's lots of fun stuff there. Our live episode is there where Mark won recently.
Pick some faves.
Yeah, find some faves. Go down the Real Debaters rabbit hole. There's a story there. There is 100% a story of a bunch of guys who didn't know what the fuck they were doing on the first episode, too. I think we kind of have an idea of what we do now. And if you think so yourself, there's lovely ways to review the show. You can leave a review and talk about what Rob and Mark missed in maybe one of their conversations via.
There's for sure stuff we missed.
Yeah, but
And fucked up.
Inaccuracies.
you can leave a voicemail or you can leave a review. Hit the link in our bio, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Leave a voicemail up to 90 seconds. It's free, and you can leave a review. We made it easy. If you're lazy like I am, it just takes you right to the app that you used to listen to the show on. There's a bunch of other stuff at the end of this episode. It's in the end credit trailer. It's all about how to join the Debaterverse. We will let you listen to that instead. I believe before this, or once this episode comes out, we will still be doing a couple movies in the park at Cinnabon Park. We will be in the background somewhere watching the movie with you guys. So if you see us there, if you see a group of guys sitting around a microphone at, say, the Eternals or any of the other filmings that they're doing.
Have they announced what movies are?
Yeah, go to the website. Go to the Cinnabon Park website. Go to their events page. They are there. There's like a kids movie at 7 and then like more of a adult movie at 9.
And you know what you could do before you go do that? You could go check out the cool dinosaurs at the zoo.
Exactly.
And then,
Yeah, and then jump over.
yeah.
And then, I think one of them is Jurassic World. The one before, the one in the theater right now, Dominion, I think.
Well, that perfectly themes. They have a giant animatronic T-Rex
Yeah.
at the zoo right now.
Yeah, that's the perfect fucking day. Dinosaurs all day long and end it with the Real Debaters and us. So if you see us there, come over and say hello is the point. And we are also working on another live event, TBD location, but it's going to be...
Off the chain?
It's going to be... Well, you can strike out
Off the hook?
at where this location might be.
Oh.
You can get a couple strikes.
Oh.
Say, Mike, aren't you also doing something out in
Is
Gimli?
that going to be a squash club?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I am doing something in Gimli. Me and Jimmy are heading out to the Gimli Film Fest July 22nd. So if this has happened already, glad you were there. Super awesome to talk to you. But if this hasn't come out already, July 22nd, 7 p.m., Ice Vikings. They're doing a panel on the beach, the Gimli Film Fest. Jimmy and I will be asking the Ice Vikings and the crew of Farpoint what it was like making an incredibly tough series of ice fishermen on Lake Manitoba in minus 40-degree weather. So we'll be doing that. So if you see us at Gimli Film Fest, you recognize our faces, come over, say hello, talk about us, talk about you, talk about whatever you want. Let's talk about some film if you see us out in the world. Easiest way to stay in touch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all in the notes. It's all in the show notes. It's all at the end of the show. I have been Michael Petrow.
Mark Cowell.
This is Rob Greedo shot first.
Director's cuts, ladies and gentlemen. Watch them. Watch all the movies. Bye. We're gone. Say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, another Real Debaters production is in the can. Thank you so much for listening. If this is your first, second, third, fifth, 20th time, thank you so much. But thank you to the first timers, the ones here who pressed play for the first time and took a gamble on us. If you like what you heard today, the easiest thing to support the show is just to subscribe. Hit the like button, the follow button, whatever's in your podcast player. Make it so that we're always there every Wednesday for you, okay? That would be huge. If you want to stay in touch with us, if you want to follow us, there's a couple ways to do that. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. We're slowly migrating to YouTube by putting all of the things we've ever put on video onto that site. There's some surprises coming this year that happened a while ago, but I felt needed to be shared because they're part of the Debaterverse. So the YouTube page is coming. But if you want to follow us, it's at Real Debaters Pod on Twitter and Instagram. It's the Real Debaters Podcast on TikTok. All of the links, all of the one-click away things are in the show notes that you've just listened to. So if you want to follow us there, that would be great too, because then you get to stay in the know of all the things that we do and what we're going to try to do this year and what we've done in the past, so on and so forth. So that's how you stay in touch with us. If you want to contact us, it's therealdebaters@gmail.com. All the spelling for all these things is REEL to keep with the title of the show. So you can send an email to us there, request an episode, want to call out one of us for being a goofball. There's places to do that as well, too. Like the Real Debaters website. You can email us, or you can go straight to the website, rate us on Podchaser, it's realdebaters.ca. And if you really, really liked what you heard and you want to support the show in some fashion that requires you spending money, well, we got a couple ways for you to do that as well, too. You can buy our merch at the Prop Shop. It's a store through Threadless, and it's online, and you can order stuff. We've got tons of stuff. We've got our Mass Debater wear there. It's our signature, original, and only line. It's our logo on everything. So you can support us that way. Go to the merch tab in the show notes, or if you just got $1 and you're like, hey, I want to give you $1 and donate it to your cause, there is a tab in the show notes as well, too, that says donate to the Debaterverse, I think. And if you click on that, it takes you to a donation page where you can donate like $1, $3, and $5, and you'll get something for your $1, $3, or $5. Any more than that's just ludicrous. Luda. So, that's just kind of what I wanted to tell you, that what I said at the end of the show. This is what you should listen to, because this is all about who we are. And now that we've gotten to where we are, we want to interact with you guys more. So these are the ways to do so. This is the way to stay in touch with us. Thank you to everybody, again, who's listened to the show. Again, you pressed play. You took a chance. That's cool. So without further ado, this is where I said I would talk more. So it's eggs on your face. No, I got nothing else for you. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. And watch all them fucking movies. Bye-bye.